Here we go.
Yo,
Yo, yo.
what's up, homie? How are you?
Good to hear you, bro.
What's going on? All right, so let's just get right to it. Like, no bullshit, because I'm a little bit busy. But anyway, so my question to you was, again, let me just actually make it clear. I'm not trying to prove that the Earth spins, is a globe, or is anything. I actually hope that it is flat. I just, based on evidence, I'm not sure that it is, and I don't understand why people are so dogmatic about it. So my question to you would be, if what you're saying is true that the Earth is flat and outer space isn't real, why would J.P. Morgan, the banker or whatever, why would he make the claim to a news reporter that what's it called that millionaires don't use astrology but billionaires do? That doesn't seem like
So,
he
do you
knows
understand what
something that he
astrology
doesn't want
is?
the public to know.
Okay, we'll break it down real quick. Astro meaning stars,
Yeah,
and ology meaning the study of. So all astrology is the
star,
study
right?
of the stars. No flat earther
Okay,
claims that the stars do not exist. So
right.
therefore, I don't care who you heard it from. That's
No,
not
I
what
have
I'm
heard that.
saying, and
I've
that's not
heard
what
that from a
any
few
real
of them.
flat earther
That's
would
what I
say. But
mean. Like,
everybody can look up and see.
okay, but hold on. Before you go any further, though, the people that are saying that it's a globe, they don't have all these different assumptions
Yeah,
about
because
what they
it's
think.
all
There's not
one
like a group of globe
propaganda
people that believe
indoctrination.
outer
Like
space
we've
is
been
real
fed the
and
exact
other
same
ones that
story that's
don't.
been curtailed by scientists for as long as that story's been around. Whereas flat earthers are having to actually push the envelope and figure out the answers themselves instead of accepting what's already been laid out for them. That's why.
But hasn't the flat Earth model been like this? Isn't
No,
something
I
that
did
you
use a
discovered
scientific
by
method.
like
It's
scientific
simple.
method.
Like
You
pretty
got this
much
from
like
like the Bible or some other place, didn't you? No, but
I
originally when you
saw
first heard
proof.
about it,
I saw
this
a
isn't
ship
something
go
that
over
dawned
the
on you. You
curve.
heard about it from
You
somewhere,
know what I
right?
mean? Like disappear. A camera had it and it disappeared. And Bill Nye and all the other science priests say that when that happens, when the ship goes over the
Yeah,
horizon, it's because it's gone beyond the imaginary
yeah.
curve. Now, if that were true, once that ship disappears, there would be no
Uh-huh.
way to see it again with a zoom.
Right,
But the fact of the matter is, after it disappears, you can
right.
zoom in on it,
But
which means that
but
no curve is in front of it. And that actually helps explain how our
mhm,
perspective works. The zoom increases the distance from you to your vanishing point, which then brings the ship back
right,
into view. Ships disappear over the horizon because the horizon is the termination of your vision. And that's pretty much what happens.
mhm, right. But I'm not trying to prove that the Earth is a
Yeah,
sphere.
I know, but
That's
you
the
asked
thing.
me a
I'm not
question
trying to
about.
prove that. You keep saying that I'm proving that
I
it's a
know, and I
saying
just
or a
answered it. You
sphere.
asked me,
I'm
why
not
did you
doing
do it?
that.
Did you
I'm
use a
asking
scientific
you
method? Yeah,
questions about what
because
you
here's the
believe,
two
like a true
possibilities. If
philosopher.
a ship goes over the curve, it's not going to be able to be brought back into view by a zoom camera
Yeah,
because it's behind the curve. And the fact of the matter is, you can bring it back because it's not behind the curve.
right. But I'm not arguing for a curve. But
Justin,
I'm
I
not
answered
arguing
the
for a
question
curve.
you just
You
asked,
see what I mean?
like
You're already trying
concisely.
to put
You asked
words
me
in my
about the
mouth. Like,
scientific method that I used, and I gave you an example of the
well,
scientific
yeah,
method that
I wanted
anybody
to
can
know
use
what you're.
to prove that the curve isn't what.
No, I didn't ask you for the scientific
No,
method. I asked
you
you where you
assumed that
first
I
heard
just
about the flat
believed it,
maps
but I
or the
told
flat
you
Earth
that yeah,
one.
no, I
That's
use
what I
science
asked you.
and
When
the
you
scientific
rewatch it, you'll
method to
see that.
determine whether or not it's true. Oh, we know that. We're very.
Yeah, well, I'm
Everybody
not
knows
like this
that.
man of
Everybody
science
is
or anything
perfectly
either.
aware
Like
that
like you said,
everybody. You
I'm
don't use
not like a
science at all when you're
materialistic
trying to like
atheist.
figure things out.
Well, do you have an example of what you mean, or are you just going to
Well,
generalize?
I was
Give me
gonna, yeah,
specific,
because you
concise
just don't.
examples like I do
There's no
all the
logic
time.
to anything you say. But what I'm trying to do is answer your
If
question
I
about
do it all the
J.P.
time,
Morgan,
like if I do it all the time, like you're
because
saying, you
pretty
should have
much.
lots of examples to give me. No, I'm just saying if you say I don't use ever hold on. If I don't ever use science and I do this all the time,
Yeah,
being I do
bro,
it
this
all
is
the
a
time,
whole
you should
astrology
be
thing.
able to
Like
cite
I
multiple
literally
examples
three
for when
times
I do this.
posted
So
a
can you?
graphic that shows you how the zodiac overlays over the flat Earth and how the sun rotates.
But that's not what I asked. I didn't ask that. I asked why I asked why J.P. Morgan would allude to a newspaper reporter that millionaires don't use astrology, but billionaires do. that doesn't include the flat Earth. I'm not arguing for a curve. I'm asking if outer space isn't real, like you're saying, why would J.P. Morgan, one of the richest, most powerful people that ever lived, allude to that, saying that millionaires don't use it because they don't know, but billionaires do to use it to their advantage? You don't think that's a good example of
astrology is real,
that,
Justin?
yeah,
no, we're not saying that's
you know
where you
I mean?
have
But,
the disconnect. See, the fallacy in your mind is you think that astrology proves that the heliocentric model in space is real. It does not. Astrology.
No, I'm not arguing for that.
No,
you don't even understand what I'm arguing, brother. I'm saying that no. I'm making the point that if outer space, I don't care about the shape of the Earth. I hope it is flat. I'm saying if outer space isn't real, like most of the flat Earth people are saying, then why would a guy allude to the fact that not only is it real, but
you have a fallacy because you believe that astrology is outer space. That is the fallacy. See, when I say I have dumb questions, it's because there's fallacies in them. You think that astrology proves outer space. It does not. And that is why J.P. Morgan can allude to the fact that astrology is real and have that not prove outer space. And in fact, I provided you with a graphic that shows the zodiac over the flat Earth, the pizza slices, and how if the sun does rotate around the flat Earth and the sidereal stars rotate as well at a different rate, that's actually geometrically how the zodiac works. A zodiac does not work with random space plane. Hey, don't interrupt me. I'm in the middle of smashing your question.
I'm not worried about how it works.
No, you interrupted. Come on, dude. I'm in the middle of smashing your question. You gotta let me answer.
Because
the astrology, the Western or the Eastern astrology makes absolutely no sense with outer space, because how can the sun be in front of constellations? And how can constellations even conceptually stop? Hang on, I'm not done. Dude, you're interrupting. That's not cool.
I'm not arguing that it is. Like, that's what I mean.
Have been the same. Constellations have been the same
because you're misrepresenting what I'm saying.
In the heliocentric model, they claim that the Earth has 6 separate motions: a rotation, a revolution around the sun revolving around the solar system, and the solar system revolving around the galaxy. And then all stars are allegedly doing all of this. Now, if that were the case, there would be parallax, which is the difference. So when you're driving past a mountain and there's a mountain further in the distance, hang on. Yeah, I know you don't care about the truth, but I'm here to just destroy your question.
I don't care about any of this stuff. This is what I asked. But you did not destroy. My question was, why would J.P. Morgan allude to that? I'm not asking for the how it works. I'm not asking you how it works and where this star does and what spins. I'm asking why J.P. Morgan would say that. You see what I mean?
You think that if astrology is real, I'm not asking how that is the fallacy in your thing. That's why you're asking this question about J.P. Morgan.
No, that's not what I said. I'm asking like J.P. Morgan,
real, but it doesn't prove the heliocentric model, so it means nothing.
I'm not saying that it is real or it works. But I didn't say that it did. I'm asking you what you think J.P. Morgan's intentions were.
Astrology is true.
That's what I mean. That's why you're
I
not
actually
listening to
do
what I'm
my
saying.
own astrology. But what you think that somehow disproves the flat Earth, because before you asked the question, you were like, flat Earth department. Justin, it's in your post.
Yet again, you're being dishonest. I didn't say disproves the flat Earth. No, stop. Let me talk now. No, I didn't say that it disproves the flat Earth. You're not letting me talk. Dude, you're not letting me talk. Bro, you're not letting me talk. I'm not saying that it disproves the flat Earth.
But it doesn't come with the idea that outer space doesn't exist. You're inserting that
and if it doesn't exist, hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. You're cutting me off.
I
just did like 12 because you know you can't answer it.
All you know how to say is you can't answer it, and you say it after people answering.
No, you didn't. When people, okay, no, you didn't. Why would J.P. Morgan? Why would J.P. Morgan allude to that? I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's real. I'm not saying it works.
About the reality of astrology. But the reality of astrology, not only does it not conflict with a flat Earth, as well as does not prove outer space, but it's astrology in the zodiac is geometrically congruent over top of a flat Earth. Astrology supports the flat Earth model. So my question to you is, if the astrology supports the flat Earth cosmology, then why would J.P. Morgan allude to the astrology if it's real?
Well, I'll say something. I'll say something you never will. I don't know enough about astrology to say yes or no. I just don't know. I don't have all the answers.
You ask questions that are supposed to have, they're like rhetorical questions. Like you set up these questions that have fallacies in them that try
No,
to
they're
make
not.
things
No, they're
seem
not
wrong.
rhetorical. Asking why there are crater impacts if there's a dome is not a rhetorical question. That's not a rhetorical question. If there's a dome above us and there are crater
so now your
impacts,
question
my
changed.
question
Well,
is,
somebody
how did the
answered that on your
asteroids
thread,
and
and
comets, which
I
others
know it's a different question, and somebody already answered it on your thread.
no, that's a different question. That's a different question.
Every
I have
single
multiple
culture
questions.
has records of plasma
Okay, answer
discharge.
it here now
whether
on
you talk
camera.
about
Why?
Zeus and the god of thunder, whether you talk about Ragnarok in Norse mythology, whether you talk about the thunder plains that began reality. Some people think things started like that. And plasma discharge from an electrified firmament. Let me answer the question. You can't answer.
Okay, what about? Hold on. Okay, what about Adad, Adonis, Alcides, Baal, Crete, Dave, Dionysus, Eros, Horus, Indra, Krishna, Mithra, Odin, Osiris, Prometheus,
it's all an
Amun, and Ra.
allegory.
They all
It's
have
all
the
an
plasma
allegory
discharge.
for what
I never heard
happens
about that.
when the firmament discharges electricity. We see lightning. That happens all the time. Nobody disputes the existence of lightning. So essentially, all craters are just really big lightning bolts that smash and burn and melt through the earth. And there's all sorts of stuff on there. New question. So that's two questions answered.
How come? Okay, because these crater impacts have been. Hold on.
No,
no, you didn't.
No, those were like clear,
you responded.
That's
you
why
didn't answer. You can say, Justin, what do you want for dinner? You can
ask additional questions.
Justin, what do you want for dinner? And I can say,
refute the answer. You just move to a new question. That's because it's answered.
Bullshit. No, bullshit. No, hold on. Okay. So you're claiming that lightning caused the crater impact next to the Grand Canyon. That's what you're saying? Hold on. That's what you're saying. Okay, to be clear, you're telling me that the crater impact next to the Grand Canyon was done by lightning and not an asteroid.
That's the technical term for lightning.
Plasma. So lightning, or what's the difference? Okay, so lightning caused the crater impact next to the Grand Canyon. That's what your argument is? Because there's no evidence of that.
Lightning blows shit up all the time. It's literally concentrated fire energy. It can destroy anything in large quantities.
You know how big, bro? It's enormous. No, man, I've seen lightning. I've never seen a crater impact left by lightning. Dude, human beings have survived lightning impacts. Nobody is going to survive the impact next to the Grand Canyon. You're not telling the truth, brother. That's what I mean. There's crater impacts that are actually dated older than humanity. Older than humanity. So I'm asking,
you're just assuming that asteroids and comets exist. That's all you're doing, and then you're assuming that they cause the crater impacts. Shooting stars and asteroids and comets are two different things.
I've seen shooting
stars
myself.
Lights in the sky do not equal heliocentric globe
stars. Not really. Barely.
Things falling from the sky do not equal space debris coming into the atmosphere. Well, right? That's the problem. Fallacy after fallacy after fallacy. Disconnect after disconnect after disconnect.
Stuff flying around
you know what I mean? You chain together these disconnected ideas and you think it's an answer.
No, I don't know what you mean. No, I'm asking, you're claiming that you know definitively that lightning caused the crater impact that's enormous next to the Grand Canyon. Do you have any evidence whatsoever of what you're claiming, or you just want it to be that?
Totally, nobody is disputing that. Lightning can't destroy Earth. So people don't get struck by lightning.
No, it can't. No, it can't. Lightning can't destroy Earth. No, it can't. Show me in the last 500 years. You show me any specific place where lightning left a crater impact anywhere on Earth. I challenge you to show me that evidence, because there is none. Because it's not from lightning, bro. Human beings survive lightning. People have got hit by lightning. Nobody is going to survive a crater impact. Dude, you're not being honest, and I am. Again, I don't have all the answers. I'm not arguing for a globe model, but you're just making what you want up as you go along. Like, again, let me get to the Vatican question. Why does the Vatican have the biggest telescope on Earth? Why does the Vatican have the biggest telescope on Earth, named after the thing they want to find the least? Why? Why? If outer space isn't real, why does the Vatican have the biggest telescope? The people with the least vested
telescopes are meant to
have the biggest thing to prove.
Because you can observe the sky does not mean that the heliocentric theory of what that sky is true. I don't need a telescope to do that. I don't need a telescope to observe the sky. I'm looking up at it right now. You don't know. No telescope needs to prove a telescope. The biggest telescope. No one can. So that's the whole point. That answers your question.
You're right.
Your initial question about JP Morgan citing astrology as being something that billionaires use assumes, this is the undertone of the question that makes it disingenuous. It assumes incorrectly that astrology somehow proves outer space. It doesn't. In fact, it's it's geometrically congruent over a
Okay, what
flat
does
Earth.
it prove
And
then?
the flat Earth model actually geometrically makes sense. There's an app you can download where you can watch time lapse of how the sun moves over the flat Earth and how it.
Well,
Why
why
are you
are some?
asking
Let
me
me,
a question?
are
I
you
thought
saying
we
that
were
the
talking about if
stars are
astrology
they're in
proves
the
outer
firmament?
space.
You're
That was
claiming?
the initial question.
Well, you're claiming that outer space isn't real, and outer space isn't real. So I'm asking the stars that I can see in the sky, which completely goes along with my question. What are they doing in there? And why are some further away than
What
others?
are they
And if they're
doing there?
Question
lighting
number
into the
5.
firmament,
All right, so
what are
I've answered
shooting
4
stars
questions.
that
We're
I
on
can
to
see
number 5.
myself?
And look,
I just hit up Justin to come up and defend himself. He says he's
Incorrectly.
busy.
You just respond. That would be like me asking you, like, hey, Tony, what do you want for dinner? You say,
10
cars
fallacies now.
backwards, double
I
dragon,
think we're
fat
at
guy.
10 fallacies now.
That's not an answer.
Pretty much,
It's a
dude.
response.
So,
It's not the
look,
same thing.
The whole point of your main question is that JP Morgan believes astrology, so that a hip wise person will understand that astrology makes sense. But then here's where the problem comes. You believe that that somehow vindicates the existence of outer space when it doesn't. Exactly. And see, that's the problem. It does not. Astrology has existed before. Hang on. Astrology and the prediction of the planet.
Where's your evidence that it doesn't?
Of the lights in the sky
You're breaking up. I can't hear you.
has been done
It's breaking up.
before and can be done without any sort of heliocentric space bullshit. All right? It's just all you gotta do is look up and track them. That's it. That's all you gotta do. So it does not prove in any way that they are in space or balls of gas or any of that. That is the fallacy that makes your question disingenuous. What do you mean you can't see the dome?
Well, how come I can't see the dome above me? I can't see the dome, but I can see the stars. Based on what I know, the historical space thing makes a lot more sense when I just look up than there's a dome above me. How come I never? How come it never reflects the sun?
Listen to this.
Kind of weird, don't it? Like you ever look at
Question number
glass
6.
and how
So we're on 6 now.
You know?
So how come it doesn't reflect anything? Check this out. You cannot produce a rainbow. Hey, let me answer your 6th question. All right. You cannot produce a rainbow indoors without a glass prism. That's the only way you can get a rainbow to appear indoors. Oh, I'm getting yelled at by this lady because I'm yelling at you, bro.
You know that definitively. There's
if you
nothing
can't
else
produce a rainbow inside without a glass prism, what provides the glass prism for rainbows that we see outside? The answer is the dome, the firmament. 6th question answered.
I would guess you could get the same reaction from
you know that definitively though that there's the only way to that for sure, because I'll admit I don't know that much about rainbows, but if I look into it and I find counter evidence, I'm gonna bring that up. You know what I mean? See, like I'll admit when I don't know something. You just make up what you want, like the lightning impact. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. You think lightning is dude, it's the same subject. Yes, it is. Dude, have you seen these crater impacts?
They had capacitors.
Have you seen these crater impacts?
All right, this is an example of electricity destroying
Show me any example of what you're talking about. Show me any example anywhere on the planet.
Are you gonna let me answer your 7th question?
Where?
Question number 7. All right.
You're making all these claims, but you don't have any evidence.
How can electric plasma discharge destroy things like Earth? Well, back in New York when they. No, I do.
No, that's not what I asked. How they would cause a crater impact. See, yet again, you misrepresented me and then labeled it as
like, like everybody is watching is objectively understanding that your questions are being answered. And then when you deny it, it just makes it look silly. That's why I wanted you to come on here, so that it could be obvious for everybody.
There's one person watching.
You got any more questions? I did 7 in a row.
Well, share.
I know.
Like again, I'm not even telling you you're wrong. I'm just asking questions. You know, it just seems like you just seem to.
I don't have the answers, but I know
incorrectly though. That you're wrong. You're wrong about the crater.
The way you talk about how people answer your questions is laced with fallacies, and like the whole point is that's all Globe's got is fallacies. You need fallacies.
No, that's just a euphemism. Okay, so. Okay, Carmen. So then you explain
because
they want to observe the sky. Telescope on Earth.
They want to
observe look up right now. It's like the size of a building. Why do they need that much power to see that far out there? Why do they need all that power? I can look up now.
Because they want to observe the sky. That neither proves nor disproves anything. Okay?
Make up what you want.
No,
right?
it doesn't. It doesn't.
No, it proves it. It proves it. If I see somebody, listen, if there's somebody dead next to me, and I see somebody standing next to them with a smoking gun, that's a very good example of that person might be guilty and might be a suspect. So I'm asking you, if the Vatican, the people that have the most vested interest in keeping the flat Earth model going, why did
it's
they
not a
have the
smoking
biggest
gun.
smoking gun of all?
Using a lens
Give
to
a clear
magnify
answer to
the
that.
lights
You
in the
can't
sky
do
does
it.
not
You
prove
can't.
that they are gaseous balls floating in space. There is your fallacy. 8 question
For
answer.
what?
8.
Didn't say that.
It was
I didn't
directly
say that it
answered.
did.
I don't know what
Didn't say
it was
that it did. You
directly
didn't answer
answered.
the question. No, you're saying it. I didn't say they were gaseous balls. Didn't say they were gaseous balls. I'm asking you why these people would have the
Because they
biggest
want to
telescope.
observe
That's the
sky.
biggest smoking gun
It
in
doesn't
history.
prove the
Why? If
heliocentric
they
model,
want to
Justin.
propagate the flat Earth, why do they have the biggest balls?
Then why are you asking the question?
Didn't say that it did. Didn't say that it did.
You're disingenuous
representing me. I'm not arguing for a
questions
flat
that
Earth.
have
I'm asking
fallacies
you
in them.
questions about
So
what
I'm
you
just
believe,
dissecting
and you're
each
just
one
making up what
and
you want
pulling
as you
each
go along.
fallacy out.
Like
That's all.
lightning,
There's the
created
fallacy. There's
the
the
Grand
fallacy.
Canyon impacts.
After
And
8
well,
questions, he's done.
listen,
I thought
you
it was
post
gonna
this.
get at least
I gotta
13.
go
But
and pick up dinner and stuff like that.
It's okay. 8 questions is good.
I told you I was in a rush. Look, I told you I was in a rush.
Yeah, and please tell
That's always
Larken
We'll
that
pick
Justin's
this up another day.
excuse.
We'll pick it up another day. All right.
More it would be good. It
phone.
would
Yeah, I
be
will.
entertaining.
Absolutely.
We can
I'd love
agree
to
on one
watch
thing
that.
that would be
Honestly, I would.
entertaining.
But let me go. All right.
He's
I'll
in a
catch you
hurry.
on the news feed.
His phone's about to die. Those are always his
Please, please.
excuses for losing debates.
He has ran from the last how many debates? He told me he won the other day, and I had to tag you on Facebook. So, like he always claims he wins debates and that we
Yeah.
can't answer his questions when we answer his questions, and he just mows over us and pretends we didn't say anything.
Like Carmen, my boy Carmen, who's another fellow vegan. We'll have him up here one of these days. Carmen just like that was 8 questions he concisely destroyed instantly. And like Justin just yelled over him the whole time.
He really does. He will shout right over you. You really have to be a powerful speaker and just interject and stop him. You
No,
can't.
I had to mute him last week, like several times. He just screams over everyone.
Oh, I laughed so hard when you muted him because did you see how animated
Kept
he
going.
was? Just
He had no
freaking out. He was oblivious to it. He was just freaking out. It was hilarious. So what's this week's episode about?
I don't know, whatever. It's always about whatever.
Fucking, I liked your buddy's argument about the water thing. I personally think the motherfucker's round. But I'm kind of a weird guy because everybody's like, it's round, it's flat. And me, I'm like, why wouldn't it be hollow? Because I've seen water droplets spit in space and they hollow out, which makes sense because you have not only centrifugal force, but centrifugal force. And I'm
Okay.
not saying anybody's right. Quite frankly, I don't even know if I'm fucking
I'll
right.
break it down for you, Joe Bob. Okay,
What?
so the entire powers, all the powers that be, this whole system we live in, this whole society, this whole system is based off the idea of scarcity. That there is not that much shit out there, not that much land, not that much resources, and everything is priced accordingly to this idea that we only have so much gold, so much silver, so much farmable land, so much all this stuff, right? So who obviously benefits from this idea? If in our society we're told that we're floating on a ball in space and we only have this much space, then we're obviously going to be easily enslaved because we're going to be like, all right, well, there's no other way of figuring this out. Like everyone else has all the land, we'll just have to be tax slaves and like fall into this system, right? So the powers that be have been convincing us that we're floating on this ball of space, right? In space that's small. The flat Earth thing, I'm agnostic on it, but it's a really fun subject to get into. It's a really fun rabbit hole. And anyone who
So you're not a
completely
flat
discredits
earther, huh?
anyone who completely discredits it is is fooling themselves. They for sure haven't looked into it enough. Because if they did look into it enough, they would see that there are some reasonable arguments in there, and there is some weird stuff that's been happening. And so anyway, so the powers that be benefit from the scarcity. Us, there only being so much land and all this stuff. So my theory, which is what I lean towards, is that it's not that it's flat or round or anything. There's just more space out there that they aren't telling us about. There are vast natural resources at our fingertips, but we've been convinced through years and years of the powers that be having a complete hold on us psychologically, physically, everything. So we've all convinced ourselves that we're only stuck, we're stuck on these few continents and that's it. When really outside there's far more land and far more natural resources where we could all go live and not have to be tax slave in this system. So that's when people ask me, they're like, what does flat earth matter? And it's like, well, wouldn't you be interested if we figured out that there was a lot more land out there with natural resources and we didn't have to be tax slaves living under this psychotic system? Like, hello, like, you don't think that's interesting? And this was something me and Larken got a massive argument about this back in the day, made videos back and forth at each other about this. Because if you're into scientism, then you're going to believe everything that's said, on Discovery Channel and all that stuff, just like Justin Pedini. And you're not even going to listen or look at this stuff. It's these Star Trek people, these people that were really into Star Trek when they were kids. They just don't want to give up this fantasy. Braxton, close your window.
That's going to be a problem. That's actually the only sun protection I have right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Star Trek guy myself, personally. I love that.
So it's hard it's a romantic, you have this romantic involvement. No, it's okay, Braxton. You don't have to shut your camera off. I'll just
go.
So, it's hard to give up that romantic idea of science fiction that was forced down our throats. But I think that there is more land out there past. I think we're just shoved off in this corner. We may be like
on the other side of the ice wall thing. Wouldn't
possibly.
that be dope? I would love for you guys to be right.
It is, man.
I would love for you guys to be right about that. I really would. I think it's hollow personally, but that would create more land.
I mean, it doesn't matter what shape it is. There's more out there, and that's the most important thing.
Well,
like we could argue. Everyone's been arguing about flat Earth for years. Flat Earth. But it's like it doesn't matter. Why don't we, go investigate instead of talking about it? So.
But think about hollow. If you have hollow and you have the inside, you have the entire inside. You double the surface area.
No, there's plenty of stuff interesting stuff about Hollow Earth for sure.
I don't know that it's real, but I do like your concept of having the more land, more resources. And they really do try and make us think things are so much more finite than they are. They really do. Bill Gates
it started with the alien conspiracy, remember? The first conspiracy ever was aliens, and everyone was like, oh, the government's lying to us about aliens. They're hiding aliens. That was the conspiracy. The CIA actually made that up and forced that on us. That was, the beginning of a long campaign of brainwashing us into thinking that space travel is real. And they're lying to us about, they need the idea of space in order to keep us thinking that we're floating on a little ball in space. So all the aliens and the Star Trek and Star Wars and all this stuff, it's all centered around space travel being real. That's why if anyone questioned it, it's like, what are you talking about? There's a million movies, like watch Discovery Channel, it's too easy. But I
I'm
don't
not
believe
saying you're
anything because
wrong.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything, but I don't believe what was taught to me in elementary school by these psychos. That's for sure. And I
I
don't
I
think that.
I agree. I agree, but I could also make the same argument you just made about space with dwarves and elves.
Well, I'm not saying I believe anything though.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm convinced by most of the shit either. I always
Yeah.
ask questions. That's
And
for
like
sure.
I did a debate with this guy, this SpaceX shareholder, and I was like, convince me space is real. Show me some real evidence. And he shows up and he's got pictures of him at the landing pad, like pointing at a rocket. And I'm like, bro. I'm like, are you trying to tell me this is concrete evidence of space travel? The fact that someone built something that looks like a rocket and we've all been told that it goes into space, so we believe it,
Why
like,
why don't
come
they send
on.
why don't they send up a fucking flat earther? Like a diehard flat earther.
I used to make that point, like just like in YouTube comments. I'd be like, I almost wonder if they're like flat earthers that they're just secretly using this as like a lotto ticket sort of thing to be like, oh, I get to go to space now. Like, that'd be a funny plot twist.
No, well, I mean, who was it? Lifting the veil. What's his name? A ginger kid, Cullen Smith. He was gonna do a GoFundMe to send me into space, so I'd be convinced since I'm such a skeptic. But
I've never
I'm
seen
down.
no GoFundMe. But then again, I probably wouldn't contribute to it anyways. I want my own.
I know. And that
I
that
probably
SpaceX
steal
guy,
that
same thing.
idea.
He's like, you could pay $600,000 to go in space right now, and I'm like, really? So if I'm a rich guy that's completely convinced that it's real, I could go do this thing that convinces me that it's completely real, even though I've already been convinced it's real. Like that's not like it's the mental gymnastics is pretty funny because we're all it's been so ingrained in us since the dawn of time. Dinosaurs and space travel, nuclear bombs,
I just thought of
taxation being definite.
I just thought of a sweet new fucking conspiracy theory we could create, guys. So we're saying that if we sent up a flat earther into space, they might believe it, right? But with current technology and TVs and visual stuff being the way it is, we could literally claim that airplanes are literally not even airplanes. They're just projecting what they want us to
Guess
see.
what, John Bob? So jets run off of hydrogen that's in the air. They need gasoline to start up, but once they're up to 40,000 feet or wherever it is that all the planes go up there, the jet stream's up there. Up there, they burn off of the hydrogen in the air, and they've been scamming us on plane tickets since the inception of jet technology. They just lied to us and said, "Oh, we got to use a ton of gas," because they knew they'd be able to like ding us for it for eternity. It's just like electricity. Or anything that these other things we have to pay for. They know that once they convince us that all this shit is real, we'll pay for it till the dawn of time. So, it's it's bullshit.
That's hilarious because honestly, I fucking I've never heard that before, but that doesn't even sound like a conspiracy. That sounds like some
It's
legitimate
not.
shit. I wouldn't question that. I would believe
Yeah.
that just because fucking they're sinister enough to do something simple like that. Fuck yeah, they're sinister enough to do that. Just
Convinced
fucking
us that we're
gouge the
floating
peasant.
on a tiny ball of space in space, like a tiny glass ball with water and some dirt, and now we've all happily been tax slaves. So my theory, why we've been secluded in this little space, is maybe we were a part of a bigger group, and most of that group had evolved past killing animals and humans for whatever reason, and they saw us, we weren't evolved enough yet. We were still fighting with each other and being psycho cannibals. And so they instead of killing us because they're pacifists, obviously, they put us on this piece of land to let us evolve a little bit more. And, you know, some of us are halfway there. And most aren't. So that's kind of my like petri dish kind of like we're kind of just like we've been set aside somewhere. But some assholes have taken advantage of that. Or
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
we're just misreading. Maybe we think there's this sinister thing, but really it's just keeping us in this little bubble where we need to evolve a little bit more. I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I've wondered about the psychology behind all of it, the people who keep us stuck in the sort of scarcity mindset. Because, I mean, supposedly everybody is human, but, you know, it's like, it's just weird because it's like how much of it is like a nature versus nurture thing. Because obviously, they, you know, people would be groomed to be a certain way if they came from certain bloodlines that were like traditionally in power. So it just makes you wonder, like,
Well, no, I mean, dude, the elites that we know aren't the real elites. The real elites are shadow. You know, like we don't know we don't know how far it goes. We like all these Rothschilds. These guys are all stuck talking about. Holy shit, Luke Radowski. Oh my god.
Huh.
Like I stopped working with him because he just wanted to keep reporting on this bullshit, and I'm like, dude, you're not telling the truth, you know, and like I
the
can't
Black Pope
continue
and
working.
shit?
What's that?
Like the Black Pope and shit? Is that where you're
No,
going?
like
Or do
focusing
you have
on
any theories?
fucking Hillary Clinton and these like elites that supposedly, you know, are the real elites now, who aren't the real elites.
No, they're just
People are
the fucking actors
they're
owned by the
puppets.
elite.
Yeah,
So I don't
they're
believe we know them all.
they're act.
But I will
Yeah.
say this, to assume that we don't know any of them and we haven't figured out anything really is a judgment saying that we're just fucking idiots. I would think we figured some of it out. Like I would think the Rothschilds are amongst one of those ruling families that are pulling strings. You know
Well,
what I
they're
mean?
inheritors. They're the connection between the real elites and us. They got given everything that they have, and just like all these like Thomas Edison and like all these guys that we know that we think invented all this stuff, they were handed that technology because they were in the club, you know, and they were able to introduce this technology as their own and take these positions of being the founding fathers and all this shit in this bullshit story that's completely made up by some people who conquered another you know, conquered something else, someone else. So history is written by the victor, and you know, that's just what we're dealing with. So we have to question everything they taught us in school. Like you can't, if you still believe any of that shit, you know, like you're fooling yourself if you believe any of that stuff. And that's why with the libertarian movement and the anarchist movement, like that's what drives me so nuts with these guys. That's why, like, kind of part of the reason I made this show is because, like, these, like, are you kidding me? So, question government, but not NASA. You know, NASA, everything NASA says is true. You know, like, holy crap, guys! Like, because it's again, it's this, dude. I was a Trekkie too growing up. It really took me a lot to like be like, okay, they're completely lying about this stuff. Like, it took months and months and months of rabbit holes of like really open-mindedly researching to figure this stuff out. And I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything is true. I'm saying I think there's something else. I have a few theories, but I don't believe any of it yet because I haven't seen enough evidence. But I have seen enough evidence that the people, the controllers that control us now are full of shit, and we can't believe anything they say. So you have to start with the skeptical mind, like, okay, everything's bullshit, then research and figure out the things you think are true or not. But this like top down, I'm going to believe everything until I learn otherwise is like how this country is still screwed right now.
I think history is kind of a loop. What were you saying, brother? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead, Braxton.
I was.
I'm on fire tonight.
I just kind of got lost in the mix there. I was gonna say, as far as like, I guess as far as like the learning process to try to discern truth, like you can at least start with a skeptical mind and kind of pick things apart with that. I think it's called hypothesis, where you're kind of like picking away from what something's not, what you know is not true. And then as you build more info, as you go through the years, you can start to find out what truly is, what you can actually verify for yourself.
Well, have you seen the Judy Wood lecture about 9/11?
I don't know if I've seen that
Oh
one.
boy.
I'll be right back. My dog's got to go out, guys. I'll be right back.
All right. So Judy Wood is a
Sweetie.
scientist, real scientist, and she did a scientific evaluation and examination of 9/11 and what happened. Like starting from scratch. And basically she explains how both the towers were vaporized. And how they're it's where the whole directed energy weapons thing came from. Okay. It's a directed energy weapon. There was a hurricane that was off the coast of New York that it wasn't reported in the news or anything like that like moved over to the like close towards New York, and then when 9/11 happened it stopped, and then it started moving away afterwards. There's like all this weird shit, and we didn't know what we were looking at, so we just believed what they told us, because back then everyone was dumb as shit back then. No one was, I mean, the like truther movement was very small back then.
Like
or non-existent. Well, there was like loose change and shit like that. Which were like the early 9/11 videos, but they weren't, they did, they were just talking about something's up. But Judy Wood, I think her lecture, I'll send it to you. If you look up Judy Wood directed energy lecture, it used to be right at the top. Now you have to scroll way down to find it, because I think they don't like it.
Trying to
but she's just, yeah, super cool lady, scientist, and just is like, yeah, like, sorry, after looking at it from a scientist's point of view, what they're telling us that happened absolutely didn't happen. She debunks the whole architects and engineers thing, which was a CIA psyop, to again hide the fact that directed energy weapons were used, and just say, oh, they just blew it up with like a tactical nuke or some thermite, whatever thermite. Oh, they just use conventional shit. They just use shit you can get anywhere, So because they didn't want anyone figuring out that something else was used, some sort of some weird stuff that makes steel vaporize, because that's what it did. It vaporized. And then she shows there's like this guy, this other scientist that could like bend steel using sound waves and like electric waves in a room. Like he could bend steel cold, not hot, like no heat's produced. Like there's tons of it. Like it's a real thing, and it blew my mind seeing these videos.
I've heard some interesting things about what you can do with sound.
Yeah. So the characteristics of what this guy's doing with the steel, like the steel will curl in certain ways, and then she goes back to the 9/11 footage, and you watch the same thing happen, and you see the same evidence afterwards of these like curling, and this everything got kind of roasted. Cars were flipped over for some reason. Why'd cars flip over 2 blocks away? Like weird shit happened because they were shooting directed energy weapons at New York, and it's not an exact thing, so they kind of fucked up the whole block. They blew a bunch of holes in a bunch of buildings and all kinds of stuff, but it's the most Hutchison effect right there. Race lever is a AI bot, man. This dude
he's always on.
This dude is on fire 24/7, if he's even a dude. I think, because I used to think Braxton was a bot, we were like, Allie and I were like, Braxton and Race Lever are definitely bots because they're just like, they got nothing but good shit to say all the time.
Yeah,
But
when I get in
Race
my
Lever
element,
not ever coming up on the show, that's very sus.
yeah, I was lurking for a while and then I hopped in. We need to put the pressure on Race Lever a little bit.
Yeah. And Contrarian 420. I think I know who that is. I just don't know what their name is.
Okay.
But Contrarian 420 had the best comment of the night so far.
I think you're right, though. I think there are a lot of bots out there, aren't there? A lot of
This
fake
one right here.
motherfuckers. Or infiltrators that are actually like FBI, CIA. You can't tell me the motherfuckers aren't inside of our fucking circles watching us.
So, John Bob, I don't know how long you've been following me. I was in 2012, 2013, I was involved in with a couple other big activists in doing in scheduling and arranging a open carry march in Washington D.C. and like 15,000 people on Facebook signed up wanting to go. Like the moment we released it, I was working on a podcast back then with this guy named Adam Coca. He's a sketchy dude, but we had some fun and did some cool shit back in the day, Ron Paul days. But we got followed. We got followed by the FBI and the Department of Homeland Defense. I saw stacks of me and his conversations. Like they had like recorded everything. They had Crown Vics out front of my house. They followed me. They were following me around during or close to the time when we were doing it on the 4th of July, because they were arresting people for having guns in DC. You know, in the USA, where you're allowed to have guns, and they were saying you couldn't have guns in DC because DC is a special place, and you know, it's like so we were gonna just flood DC with people, and so they didn't like that at all, and they came down on us. Adam ended up in jail for like 4 months, just being crazy, just like doing stunts, you know, that he shouldn't have been doing. We were supposed to do the event and we called it off basically, and then because like we got too much heat, and we kind of like had everyone go to like their local like capital and like, you know, protest something on the 4th of July instead of eating hot dogs and shit. And so that was kind of a bummer, because that was like could have been a really, really cool thing, but he just like he went on the Young Turks and then like called it off, like because they like made fun of him about it. And it was just like, okay, so I guess the feds got to you. But anyway, so while I was involved in that, all of a sudden there were all these sketchy women and sketchy people around, that were like trying to cause a lot of trouble. And it was, I mean, I got pretty freaked out, you know, like I'm a very stable mentally dude, but that shit got me paranoid, you know, like especially after the fact of knowing it was all true the whole time. But of course, you know, they're going to have agents, they're going to have honeypots, they're going to have these people always around that they could use and just throw in there. And you never know when you're dealing with internet people who these people are. Now, all of a sudden, you know, Adam goes to jail and I'm his right-hand man, and like 5,000 people are trying to get at me for 1,800 different reasons, you know, like it was just kind of nuts.
Oh
and
yeah,
so yeah, the feds are out there for sure. The feds are out there, but like you can't go around calling people feds, you know, when you don't have evidence. A lot of people do that in this movement. And I was talking to someone, what's that girl's name? Jennifer Sunshine, what's her name? I tried to get her on the show tonight. She's being slandered by Larken Rose and his girlfriend or wife or whatever.
Who's fucking Larkin to slander anybody? The guy's a
Rachel
fucking
Sunshine.
data.
Rachel Sunshine. But
Dude, either way, Larken's a fucking estrogen-filled beta, dude. Like seriously, the guy
he's
literally is on
he's on
estrogen.
TRT, dude. He used to be like super chubby, and he got on testosterone and got this ego, and it was
I
funny.
don't care if he's on testosterone; he still has gynecomastia from the estrogen.
No,
he's
you get
taking.
gyno. You get gyno from testosterone. So if you're saying he has gyno, I'm not surprised because I know he's on TRT.
You might be right. I
Yeah,
don't know if that's a side effect. I do know
he
that
very
people
much
get
is.
people get gynecomastia from taking estrogen. There's a reason they give these women that think they're men, like, or men that think they're women, estrogen, and they grow breasts. I mean, it's a real thing. And fucking milk is filled with estrogen. You're literally supplementing estrogen. Dairy's a weird motherfucking thing, man. It's fucked up.
Devin's going to a protest at Mark Jacobs, by the way. Braxton, why did I bring up Rachel Sunshine and the Larken thing?
Oh, the sketchy agent thing you were talking about,
Oh,
being harassed and all that.
Oh, I could give you a great.
no! Calling people feds. Calling people feds.
Oh,
Calling
okay.
people feds. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So Larkin and his girlfriend or whatever are calling her a fed. When they don't have any evidence, and like it's super tacky to do shit like that. Like I've been around. Like I'm pretty sure I was around some feds, and it was very serious. But like no one's around. No, there's no feds around Larkin Rose. Like no one. Like
Why
come on.
would they? He supports government. He's
Well,
proven time
plus he
and
took
time
a plea
again he
deal.
supports
He took a plea
government.
deal. He didn't like stay in jail and fight the tax man. Like he took a plea deal and got out like way early. Like, wow, impressive.
Not really bucking the
Well,
system.
well, they harass and extort people. I get that. I mean, fuck it. I'm not gonna fucking judge anybody for being bullied by the state and being offered a fucking, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, he's still a fucking bootlicker, dude. He literally supports fucking factory farming. You don't get more fucking in support of government than that. You don't, dude. I mean, they literally subsidize those industries. Those are like the special god industries to them because they turn men into betas. They want that, and he supports that.
Well,
No,
he's not even willing to talk about it.
that's the big fallacy with all these dudes. All like, oh, soy boys, estrogen. It's like, holy shit. You guys are tripling down on the food that has the most bioavailable mammalian estrogen in it in the world. Like, holy crap, you guys! Like,
And then
That's
scapegoating.
what I'm
like
saying.
the estrogen in soy it only affects plants. Like, hello, like that's
But it
not.
actually modulates too. Like it can actually balance out your hormones if you have too much estrogen, like or if you have too little.
It's good for women.
Dude, I
But
actually
yeah,
proved something with soy not too long ago. I actually created a new conspiracy theory because you know all these meatheads that are on steroids trying to get jacked. Fucking steroids are made out of fucking soy, man. So it's proof that these fucking meatheads, they're actually soy boys injecting soy right into their veins, their muscles and shit to get jacked.
I have a funny soy boys. Yeah, well, of course that. The Joe Rogan sells that shit, Alpha Brain. It's
I've heard of
like
that.
98% soy.
Is it really? Just
Yeah, that's like the
soy,
original of the soy boy term comes from that whole crowd, the whole Rogan cult of Rogan, creepy freaking like man crush thing that all these dudes, the mainstream has on Joe Rogan. And like,
dude, that is so fucked up. Like all these fucking meat eaters and fucking people, they're the first ones to call people fag or gay or you know what I mean? They're like the most homophobic people out there. As they're literally feminizing themselves, they have breasts and they're actually taking soy supplements.
no, yeah.
It really is a contradiction in terms if you think about it,
Yeah, for sure.
Funny.
The other thing I was thinking about the other day, that I think we could all kind of start doing, or start promoting, and just kind of doing from now on, is like it's fun to just like aimlessly argue with metards on Facebook, but I feel like we should almost get more like surgical about, like, everybody needs to like stockpile links to studies and start dropping studies instead of arguing, because studies really scare these guys. They'll sit there, they'll say, oh, that study's probably bullshit, it's probably paid off, but they know that they don't know for sure. So when you drop a study and they read it, they're questioning it. They're like, oh, and like most of these, like none of Joe Rogan's not giving studies for any of this stuff. Like none of these like carnivore guys are giving any studies for anything, because they don't have anything. And so they vilified any study, which is laughable, which is like, okay, so we're just going to deny 300 years of science and like metadata, and metadata has redundancies built in to get rid of bad data that like maybe is influenced by external money or something like that. So like they're like, you can't just like make up a bunch of studies, especially metadatas, which is studies of studies, which is like a study of 5,000 studies, like over the past 200 years. That's what we're working with. These people have zero anything. So I feel like we need to start dropping more like concrete stuff, because they're not going to listen to they never will listen to anything we say. They'll hear it and some of it will stick, and someday they might realize, oh shit, those guys were right. But the studies really scare people,
I
because
like what you're
that's like
saying.
real science.
I
And
like
like
what you. Oh, sorry.
I'll go ahead.
I get caught up sometimes, just like I'm like, oh, okay, I'm using a bunch of fallacious arguments, just kind of like, arguing whatever points. And it's just like, I just feel like I need to start, just actually, doing the stuff with those debates, and like really doing deep dives and looking at all the studies. It's like, oh shit, it's all here. Like it's all been here. Like these people can't, like, the studies are there, like the information's there, the science is good, like it's not a question. And so I recently have been posting, there's this little blurb about how it is a snippet from a actual study that's showing on the graph where cancer, like the diets, what type of oils people were doing. You saw that. I was leaving it everywhere for a while, because people were, they were dying over that. Dudes were just like, no, it's BS. And I'm like, is it? So on one side it says butter, and on the other side it says like a bunch of different seed oils, right? And all the seed oils are definitely leaning towards the more healthier side of the equation. And so like, and that's like, that came from a meta study, 200 years of science versus what Dr. Baker said on Joe Rogan's podcast, which has zero science behind it. So I just, I'm gonna start stockpiling, just because just going out and even what's his name, Mike the vegan, he just watch his show and you'll get so much ammo. Holy crap. Like he really goes through the studies and lays the stuff out really easy for us.
That one dude, the guy that always posts fast food, like just the burger patties that he's always getting because he's on the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
Well, he's been bringing up this thing about vitamin K and like MK4, I think it's called. And like I'll admit I don't fully understand the topic, but I just pointed out there's this video from Mike Vegan. What's that?
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like I brought up the video and I was like, I don't even fully understand it, but like he went through and he looked at it was like comparing vegan blood to other people's blood, like like blood work basically. and it pointed out that vegans actually had higher rates of this like MK4 and vitamin K if they were on like a proper diet. And so that one dude kind of like, he was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to watch that. He said, I don't believe that, but it's like it made him have to kind of take a step back, not be so confident for a second.
Yeah, they're very confident right now because their numbers are very large, and it's just like this is the only way of kind of, you know, completely, because we could give them our opinions of veganism all day, but the studies actually show, you know, pretty gnarly stuff. And even like the Shanghai diet, the centenarian study, you know, all that showed. Ali pointed this really good argument out. All the centenarian study showed is that humans can survive with a little meat and dairy in their diets. You know, it didn't prove that
Meat and dairy were healthy.
You know, because like these guys will try and say, oh, the centenarian, you know, it was all Okinawa diet. Yeah, I always thought it was Shanghai, Okinawa. That makes sense. But the Okinawa study found that, like, you know, the people that, you know, they did have a tiny bit of meat, but they were plant-based, mostly plant-based. They, you know, it was like Italians. It was like some people in Italy that, like, you know, they had the only meat they get is like there's a piece of ham in one of their soups, and they don't even eat it. It's just in there for flavor, you know, like it's like that kind of stuff. That's how it is in Japan. At least when I was there, I was in Japan as a vegan in 2004, I think. That was
How
really
long you
not
been vegan?
well, I was vegan in the 90s. I grew up vegetarian, McDougal vegetarian, low sugar McDougal vegetarian. Then I went vegan when I was like 15 because I got into like this vegan straight edge movement and like really got into animal activism and like and so I was vegan from like till I moved to LA and got caught up in the music industry basically, and was like partying and doing drugs and crap like that. I went to a standard American diet for kind of the first time in my life, but was very unhealthy, abusing alcohol, smoking, eating like shit. Then once I got out of the music industry, I started leaning towards healthier eating, but I did the carnivore thing because I was just the people in my environment were way into that, and so I tried it out, and like I got kind of buff, but like I had to eat a lot, and it was like hard to keep the like muscle on really, because like if you stop at all, you're just, it just goes to shit immediately because you're eating like dairy and shit all the time, which is just doesn't do anything good for your body. But so I was fluctuated back and forth, 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 just like going from like, and I'm a skinny frame dude. I'm 6'1", 165. I've always been kind of the same size, even when I was a shitty meat eater. I was the same size as I am now. Like people like, oh look, you look like fucking emaciated, and it's like, no, look at my old pictures. I look exactly the fucking same. I just look healthier now. Like I look at my old pictures and I'm like, damn, I look old. And then like these fools are using my old pictures like, oh, look how much better you look like that back then. And I'm like, for one, that was 15 years ago. For two, you're just looking at like, it's like you can't just look at picture and say, oh, look how fucking healthy someone is. Like this whole, I'm just a little bit less gray back then, but I was.
They do that shit to me too. They do that shit to me too.
Well, you're raw vegan, bro. You kind of, you fit the body type of a raw vegan, so it's a little shocking to people not like us who know what raw vegans look like.
Oh yeah, and it's an easy target because it's like raw is on the extreme. People see it, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're gonna.
But yeah, the whole you're skinny thing is like completely bullshit because I'm actually heavier now than I have been in my life. So what do you say about that? You know, like that doesn't make any sense. Um, but yeah,
Well, you know what I noticed by being raw vegan? When you quit eating meat and you go raw vegan, you no longer have that chemically reacted. Um, Sorry, I had to hang up on a call. Okay, you don't have that chemically reacted stuff, and you don't have the corpses. Well, the worms eat all this fucking shit that's fucking, rotting, wasted, like when you cook something, it becomes a waste product. It's like half broken down. It's great worm food, and it mixes with the bad stuff inside your intestines. Well, when you're not eating either of those, the worms are going to start eating on you. Fucking that shit tried eating me alive. I was raw vegan for years. It wasn't until I did a 120-day juice fast that I realized what kind of horrible stuff was inside of me. Now I'm 160 pounds, no problem, like I've always been my entire life prior to going raw vegan. But I had to fucking fast for 120 days to figure that out. Still struggling with candida, which is fungus caused by eating corpses, fucking
yeah.
still fighting with health problems over years. But at least I straightened my spine. I fixed my eyesight, restored that to 2020. I got rid of the worms. I mean, I'm making a
You healed
huge.
really fast.
What?
You heal really fast. Allie healed really fast when she broke her shoulder. I don't think I mentioned that, but she wasn't here.
Yeah, I do remember you mentioned that. That's super impressive. My wrists aren't healing like they should, but let's face it, I'm fucking a healthy, kind of active guy, and I'm more active than I should be even during the healing process. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'm like re-breaking shit. I felt those bones. And plus, I have a dog. Her name is Raptress, and she likes to run up to me and force me to pet her, and she's a big, strong pit bull and she
Yeah.
uses her fucking head on my hand. I felt that bone re-break 20 times because of the little bitch.
Oh,
I love her, but yeah, she's still pretty fucking annoying.
yeah.
Let her
So,
have better re-break your
They
bones.
can throw you around. They're
Mm.
like, and you're like, whoa, Jesus Christ.
you know,
Yeah.
well, she means well. She just wants me to pet her. I don't think she realizes, like, underneath my cast, a broken bone as she walks up with her big block head, which is like a 2x4, and shoves my arm with 40 pounds of muscle. You know,
Yeah.
bam, like, ah, quit it, get out of here.
Yeah. Can't
It's
help that.
funny.
Clumsy and lovey. Well, I was gonna say real quick to your the point you were making earlier about the Okinawa diet. There's
Yeah.
there's another interesting. Well, there's a couple of things that can be said about that, but like the Okinawa diet used to be really healthy. They were like the centenarian, like blue zone sort of area, or populations. But I've heard Dr. Greger bring up this point and a few others that like it wasn't until they started westernizing their diets and copying what Americans were doing that they started to get higher rates of obesity. They weren't like the people living the longest anymore. And also the Tarahumara, the people who put me through that whole the corn like rabbit hole that I've been in. They also have a thing where like they only eat meat they only eat meat like 12 times, like literally like 12 times a year. It's like once a month, so that might just be a cultural thing that they do. But like otherwise, they're like 80% carbs, 10% fat, and 10% protein. So they're basically, I mean, they're really close to vegan.
80-10-10. Dr. Douglas Graham wrote the book on it. I mean, there's some severe arguments for that diet and it working, like that's a raw diet from hell. It works. Low fat heals people. It keeps people strong, you know. I'm with you. Kind of cool. Have you guys heard of that book or read that book?
Oh yeah.
I think I heard the name, but never read it though.
Ellie, are you raw or what?
No, I've done when I first went vegan again from this most recent time I've been vegan. So like in 2016 I did a month of raw. But that was through 80-10-10 was how how I found that actually it was during Ryder and Freely the Banana Girl back then. There was like it got really, really big, and then all these raw fruit people were going to Thailand. That was like it was like a whole social thing. But yeah, I've tried raw. It's I still abide by the 80-10-10 macros. It's just not 100% raw.
Okay.
But it's definitely I learned a lot. That was a major breakthrough finding that and that information. And yeah.
Sounds like raw is your focus though, so that's cool.
Raw every day, at least like the beginning of the day. I mean, there's certain days where just like practically it's not. I'll not. It won't be the perfect. Like I try and do like the raw till 4
Like
thing.
2 weeks ago, we did a whole day of raw.
Nice.
Yeah, it feels, especially during the summer, like around here, SoCal in the summer. There's.
I didn't realize we were doing it, and I had a beer and ruined it.
So if you guys do that, have you ever tried any fasting thing? If you've tried the raw rabbit hole, so to speak?
I suck at that.
Everybody sucked at that, brother.
Yeah, I've tried. I want to get a good fast in one of these times, like more than just like 24 hours, but it's rough. I really like my food.
You know the secret? You just gotta knuckle under, do it for 3 days, and you beat the hormone that makes you hungry. Then that hormone's no longer around, and it's already a 3-day habit. You just go from there. You got a good juicer?
Not at the moment, no. I thought about getting one again.
Yeah, you need a good juicer to dive into that, because then you can fucking give yourself a gallon of fresh juice a day, and like just flood your body with nutrients, or even 2 gallons if you're hungry. My first probably 60 out of 120 days, I was drinking 2 gallons of juice a day, and then I cut down to 1.5 gallons after about 60 days.
Yeah, fasting is really conducive to our lifestyle.
Why not?
Thing with a fast, I mean, it's one thing. I mean, at least my experience with fasting, having it be a time where you can be sedentary and sort of cater your whole lifestyle to the fast. Yeah. I think there's definitely an application for that, and I've known of people who it has helped. But from my personal experience, generally, like watching people transform, so just living with meat eaters and seeing them turn more plant-based and then to full vegans, I see more benefit generally, may not be 100% of the time, and people eating more consistently, keeping up carb intake, and then becoming more active. I think human bodies are made to move, and just like, again, seeing transformations, I've seen people really benefit from that. Now, I think in the transition period to where you're taking someone who's a meat eater, especially standard American dieter, and then just, if you were to just put them on a raw fruit-based diet day one, I'm sure, it may not work out very well. I'm sure they would benefit from some sort of fast. They need to have a whole reset on their whole system. The bacteria need to change in their gut and everything. But yeah, I don't know. And for other chronic illnesses, I've heard people have had success fasting. But again, I think it's just I've seen a lot of people burn out and no longer be vegan anymore because they went so hard with to try and go for a pure lifestyle and burn themselves out fasting, and then just be like, what, this vegan thing, I need meat. I'm just so hungry. I need to eat meat. So that's like, I hesitate to promote fasting just because it's a very like LA thing too. Like everyone is into intermittent fasting right now. I know that's different than like doing these like long-term fasts, but it's just, I see it's like a detriment to like the health world. But yeah, like again, it's I think there's definitely a place for it. And I know myself too, like during the holidays, like if I've been eating like crap, and sure it's all plant-based, but a lot of oils or whatever, there'll be a couple days where I just feel like, okay, I need to just drink juice and eat fruit today, and just have a couple days where I'm just like chilling out. I'm not I'm not exercising, so I'm not putting that stress on my body from starving and exercising, but it's like you almost feel, once you're like, clued in with your body, you can feel that you need it. So yeah, it has its place.
I did intermittent fasting for a long time, but I was just doing it because I'm a cheap son of a bitch and I didn't want to pay for 3 meals a day.
I know that feeling.
But I felt like I definitely, when I do the daily fasting, I felt like I was a little bit like I have, being a quote unquote ADHD kid, I had a procrastination issue all the time, and it helped a little bit with that. But I was pushing my body to its complete limit, at least daily. I was like doing yoga and shit at the same time. I remember almost passing out in class a couple of times, just not eating all, like doing a 20-hour, but like being on my feet all day, like, and so it was really kind of stressful after a while. And once going, that's why I went from doing that to doing the high carb, vegan, low fat, low protein, high carbs.
Wait, were you still intermittent fasting when you first
Yeah,
started
yeah.
out? Oh,
And
that's right. I remember that.
and I got far better results from doing that, by far, like off the charts better results by doing that. And just, I'd never had cardio in my life, and riding bikes and stuff with her, it was just like, oh wow, this is really cool to be in this kind of shape, because I've been like in shape before. And like I said earlier, when I was doing the sad diet and when I was doing the paleo diet, like I was able to work out a lot and get muscles, but like, what are you gonna do with those muscles, boy? You know, like, that's why a lot of these guys that, you know, like I argue with, they're like, look at my abs, and it's like, dude, what are you lifting every day that you need that for? Like, I don't get it. You know, like it takes a lot of resources to carry that weight around, unless you're a specimen, a genetic specimen, which most people aren't. It's this false image of it's like a false image of the male body type of thing.
It
Unrealistic.
doesn't make
Unrealistic
sense
male
in
body
my
type.
head. I don't think it's masculine to intentionally make yourself overweight. Like
Yeah,
the way I see like somebody weighing an extra 50 pounds of muscle, your heart still has to pump to that fucking extra 50 pounds of muscle. You want
yeah,
your heart to last a long time, or do you want to pretend you're fucking something you're not? You know what I mean? Like, that's like putting a fucking little 4 cylinder inside of a huge fucking truck that it can't carry, you know?
exactly.
It's weird. It's not
That's why,
it's
like,
not a
you're watching
fun idea.
UFC, you see that all the time. These freaking meatheads, they get too big, and they gas out in the fight, and it's just like, well, you
And
know,
let's
you
be
should have
real,
focused on cardio.
they're on
Yeah,
steroids too. It's like
yeah,
let's that part of that unrealistic male body standard is
yeah,
a steroid physique.
yeah,
Regardless of what you're eating, doesn't matter if you're eating plant based or I mean you can be plant based and take steroids and look just as jacked as these like meathead dudes selling supplements. Like,
yeah.
no, it's just protein powder. I swear. Wait,
Come here. I'll show you everybody. You want to get famous?
Yeah,
Come on.
we got Jeremy here.
Come here. Hop up. Hop up. I can't lift you right now. I'm broken. But I'll
What's
show
up,
you.
Gord? What's up, Korean boy?
Got into Korea,
This is precious.
arrived at the destination, the school around noon Korean time, and got like a little brief orientation. Moved into the new apartment and managed to stay up till about 9 p.m. and woke up at 3:30 a.m. So here I am. It's a little after 11 a.m. now, and I've been up since 3:30. I just took a short train trip to a nearby city where there's a board game event with some of my old gaming friends.
Sounds like you're at least close to
So
a
I'm keeping the coffee going.
Okay, Devin,
I'll
I want to check
probably
in with Devin real quick.
Take it
Jeremy.
easy, switching over to the alcohol because I don't want to combine alcohol and severe jet lag. I might just be walking down the street and
Yeah.
keel over.
Straight
Devin,
Once I
you
get
there?
home, I'll probably drink one beer and immediately fall asleep.
Are you there, Devin? I want to check out. Devin's out sabbing right now.
Yeah.
Cool.
You there, Devin?
We got our vegan activist correspondent on the streets.
Devin.
Oh,
Hey,
Is he in Vegas?
yeah, he's at a what is it? Fred
Mark Jacobs
Mark
protest.
Jacobs. I guess they have maybe some fur
Oh,
or something.
oh yeah. Yeah, I saw the recent quote from him and whatever. I saw some stuff about that. Kerfluffle. He basically said, "I'm not gonna hold myself to any rules because that wouldn't be cool, right?" Yeah, great dude. I wanted to point out to you guys that when I've done fasting, it has been when I'm really sedentary, when I'm camping. Sometimes in the middle of like a hiking session, but usually just when I decide. Usually it's kind of winter camping when I decide I don't want to hike. I just want to go to a really beautiful place and stay there for most of a vacation. And my fast is basically eating herbs, eating just a certain amount of various greens together with tea or hot water, or whatever, just water and greens, including like certain kind of bitter herbs that are supposed to be medicinal and traditional oriental medicines. I don't necessarily believe that stuff. But it's more just about the fasting part and the sort of effect that it has on ability to meditate and just generally calm down. And that seems to do pretty well for me.
I've done that some days with like broth. Like I'll just make like a nice kind of like soup base using stock and different types of herbs.
Ooh, yummy.
And I like it really like vinegary, kind of spicy. So I don't know if that like causes any problems with it, but I'll just like sip on that. My like zesty sort of spicy broth kick for the day.
Oh,
It feels good when you do that. Like it just feels like you're kind of taking a break from just stuffing your face for the day to just kind of clean up a little.
Yeah, dude, dice up cucumbers and put a little bit of apple cider vinegar or a little bit of regular vinegar and a little salt
That's
in it.
great.
Like, oh my fucking god. And
Wow.
that or cabbage too. Cabbage works well, but
Oh, yeah.
ACP and balsamic also work good together. It's fucking fire.
Cabbage is one of those that I wish I used more often because every time I eat it, like I'm hooked on it. I don't know if I have like a lot of Irish or I know I have a good amount of Scottish in me, but I love my I love my cabbage.
Dr. Greger says purple cabbage is one of the most cost-efficient, nutritiously dense things you can buy. Like nutrition per cost, like per dollar.
Interesting.
It's like very high.
Oh, okay.
Cabbage specifically, yeah.
Why don't we ever
Like,
get it?
I always forget.
That might be different over here. It might be different in a little bit different in Korea where mugwort is pretty cheap. Swiss chard is incredibly cheap.
Yeah. Different veggies that are more common in those markets versus like Western markets. Yeah.
You back, Devin? Where'd Zen go? Zen was here for a little
He
bit.
said he was busy tonight. So
Yeah, I saw that.
These busy fools. Justin Padini said he was busy, but then he was in the comments.
No. Dude, there was a video I saw a while back. There was a video I saw a while back in that whole sovereign movement where it was like this dude that was trying to get like a negotiable instrument like passed through like his phone company or something like that. But he was actually, it sounded like he was pretty successful at it. But he had this one saying that he kept using because the lady that he was on the phone with kept interrupting him. And he would say, I'm sorry that the middle of my sentence interrupted the start of yours.
Wait, say it again?
He said, I'm sorry that the middle of my sentence is interrupting the beginning of yours. That's what I was thinking of when I was
That's good.
Funny.
Oh my god, I gotta use that on Justin.
Yeah, seriously. God, he interrupts so much. It's insane.
Oh.
Yeah, that Carmen video is pretty classic. Like, Like
sweetie.
I haven't seen anyone be patient enough to actually like get through all 8 questions, like 8 things that Justin says all the time. It was a pretty good video.
If you would just have a little bit of etiquette in this debate, things would probably go a lot more smoothly. But then that'd probably pick them apart after a while because people would start to see it falling apart.
So, guys, remember I kept telling you about my dog that kept breaking my arm?
Yeah.
This one's crappy. I just wanted to introduce her. I got my wife messaging me, so I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'm gonna see how her morning's going. So we're on.
All right, dude. We'll see you next Friday.
All right, later, guys. Have a good night.
Nice seeing you, dude. I'll see you guys next week too.
Oh, okay. Everybody's just leaving now. Good to see you made it safe. Wait, were you saying?
So something that's happening in my little online world is that Carnism Debunked just did a talk with David Arenas, a guy who.
I think they're doing it right now. Hold on, Jeremy. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I think
it's happening now.
And I think
I see they're in there
yelling, and she's got a sign. Yeah, they got signs.
Oh yeah, here we
Devin,
go.
The sound isn't on. Devin, turn your sound on if you can hear me. You probably didn't.
Yeah. If it's starting. Sound.
I can't unmute it. No.
Maybe he's going to be shouting himself, so it's going to be kind of weird with the
sound up on the screen.
Security's here.
Oh, yeah.
Devin's probably.
Well, it was fast.
Turn on your mic, dude.
Oh, you get it.
I think that's him.
Turn on your mic.
Was this a new store that was opening?
I think it's just the local store.
How many security we got here? Everybody showing up?
Looks like that dude trying to be a presence everywhere.
Just one guy.
Yeah.
Mall cop.
Yeah, I bet these guys have so little to do.
It's the highlight of his day.
Yeah. Some crazy vegans.
Yeah.
Something more interesting than teenage shoplifters.
Oh shit. I wish we could hear what they were saying.
I know.
Yeah.
What's the jurisdiction like in a mall? That's what I'm wondering.
Good question.
The mall cop is like the captain of a ship at sea.
Yeah. He gets
Has
to
indisputable rights over the life and property of everybody on board.
Yeah. It's his, he has.
But if anything happens to the mall, he has to go down with the mall. That's part of the oath.
I watched a crazy documentary about malls. So like in the 60s, like some government grant was given to all malls in order to I guess it was like a subsidy in order to get them going to for the greater good of all the people or whatever, you know, some sort of where they gave them like a tax break on the property, and that tax break is coming up, and it's not going to be around anymore, and all the malls are probably going to instantly go out of business, and they're just going to be gone because
that'll be interesting.
Buying stuff online is like way more efficient and cheaper, and there's just this novelty of going to the mall is going to like wear off, and the property tax is going to be way too much for any malls to actually pay for once this tax revision is gone. Thank you.
Well, I feel like it's happened here too. Our local malls, it's all.
Turn your shit on. Turn it on. Turn on your mic, dude.
all the stores are local malls, mostly high end stores now, like
Yeah.
name brand, fancy, whatever,
Mhm.
and then like a department store at the end.
Yeah.
But they're more like restaurants too. It's either like high end shops or restaurants. So that could be. I'm sure that's the reason for that. People come by going into
We'll be back. We'll be back.
What are they saying?
I think he said
We'll be back.
You guys get kicked out?
Well, that wasn't too exciting.
That was amazing. What are you talking about? What did you do this week, dickhead?
No, I'm just saying, Devin should have poured blood on somebody.
Yeah, we used to dump paint on him on the stuff. I told you that story about it was
What did I do, by the way?
in San
What the fuck are
Francisco.
you talking about, man?
Macy's in San Francisco. We threw paint on some furs there, and we got arrested. And Woody Harrelson paid our bail.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
that's what I'm talking about.
Woody Harrelson coming through to save the day.
That was in like 1993 or something like that. That was a long ass time ago.
No, that was pretty good. I was
Backpedaling.
expecting them to be there longer. Like these days, usually you have some authority trying to save face and talking to somebody for 20 minutes or whatever, trying to explain how committed their company actually is to making improvements and whatever, lying through their teeth for a long time
They just have mall
before
like
the activists have to leave.
they just have like mall level like management that's not really that invested in the company, and they got the security guard that's kicking everybody out.
It'll be reported, you know.
Mm.
Someone will hear about it.
Yeah.
You know, no company wants videos like that on YouTube. You know, that's not good PR.
And presumably it was a big story, so presumably most of their locations are getting hit around the same time.
Be cool if it was like plant-based fur. Don't you think
This was a real viral story, so
like a bunch
I
of
figure
cool
all across the world, Mark Jacobs is getting local protesters. So
me and Jeremy get caught in these like we like wait for each other, but then we talk at the same time, and we wait for each other and we talk at the same time.
yeah, we have in the past, but this time I think it might have something to do with my connection. You know, I'm just on Wi-Fi in a cafe and
Yeah.
across the ocean, so
How was your
I do
flight?
feel like there's a lag.
Was it long?
My flight was pretty uneventful and didn't feel long because I caught the flight just after midnight. And so, you know, I'd been doing stuff around the Bay Area all day. I went to Sky Cafe in South San Francisco and talked to the owner chef there. Super awesome place. This guy, like an awesome, inventive, you know, meat substitute made out of lion's mane and other mushrooms, and just making all kinds of dishes on his menu, you know. That was, I think I posted on the chat, he had filet mignon as one of his specials on his board, vegan filet mignon, which I guess is made out of lion's mane.
I was going to say mushroom based.
Primarily, yeah. I was talking to him about how when you do mushroom based meats, you've got to add calories somehow. So you've got to get like rich sauce with it so that people feel calorically satisfied after eating it.
Yeah.
Because the mushroom will handle the texture, but it won't like create like. How do you pronounce this word? I'm never sure. Satiety. 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 That's a weird thing. One of those words you always read. I don't know how to say satiety.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, so but he's
Jake,
he's so
hey, what the fuck?
bad.
Jake Lee's in
there?
the house. What up, dude?
oh nice.
Come up, Jake. Where the fuck you been, dude?
Another longtime vegan friend.
Long-time vegan friend, vegan homie.
Is he muted
That's it.
still?
Fighter. Yeah. So Jake Lee, if he comes up, Jake Lee has made a game called Conspiracy Trivia that involves the likes of Larken Rose and all of these characters within the liberty movement or the freedom movement or whatever movement this is. He's got characters in his game. He's got all of these people as characters in his game with like full storyline and everything. It's pretty epic.
Oh, he's behind.
Jake's behind. Oh, okay, yeah. Shit, he's watching from an hour ago. I'll try and get him in the comments.
Yeah, I remember hearing a little bit about that a while back on the other show. It's curious to
About
see.
what?
What's that?
Oh, Jake? Yeah, Jake's a beast, dude. Jake's been calling fuckers out since I've been calling fuckers out, basically. It's been only me and that guy for a long time, and all of a sudden it's like cool to call motherfuckers out.
We're in the Facebook beef era right now.
Yeah.
Hey, can I just ask you guys real quick? Should I stay muted when I'm not talking? Are you picking up the music in the background here?
It's actually not that bad, but it might get copyright struck. So, yeah.
It adds to the mood of the show.
Yeah. Some light Korean pop or something. Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Lounge, K-pop.
Yeah. Korean lounge.
Yeah.
David, you there?
He's running from the cops. No. Jumping fences.
Yeah.
Curious to see how that all went, though. I want to see if the security guard was just like, yeah, you guys aren't allowed to be in here because it's a mall, whatever. Like, what was their excuse?
Yeah.
Hey, it's Vegas. It might be like casinos in the old days with card counters. They just politely asked them to step out back, and then once they got in the parking garage, they just fucking beat the shit out of Devin.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
No.
Jesus Christ.
They were getting directed to like the area where they're allowed to protest.
They're like beating Devin up. We're all, dude, turn on your mic. Turn on your mic. We want to hear it.
Like, I don't want you to see this.
Oh, man.
He's going out for the movement.
All right, Jake Lee's coming up next time, I guess.
Oh.
Some guy that looks like Joe Pesci. He's saying, "You do not bring your fucking signs into my fucking casino."
He's wearing a fur coat, puffing a cigar. Not the guy you want to mess with.
What you got, Braxton? Oh, you always got something.
I don't know. I had a few things that were on my mind earlier, but most recent thing that just came to mind was Jeremy was talking about like mushroom meat alternatives, and I was looking up that channel a while back that Devin shared.
Wait, tell us. Hold on. Sorry. Tell us about your tacos.
I've been getting I'm off and on with those. I'm working on making like a I'm trying to make like the perfect recipe. I got to get the texture right. But so I'm taking that pinole, the corn flour, and I'm trying to incorporate.
It's purple.
Yeah. And if you so about the purple part, real quick. If you add more alkaline to it, or you kind of just add water to it, it stays kind of like a dark, dense purple. But if you add like lime and like lemon, any kind of like citrusy, acidic sort of elements to it, it starts to become pink, like a really cool shade of pink. So it's like pH balanced, I guess.
Hmm.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's cool because if you did that to like the tortillas, you can make like neon pink tortillas. There's also like neon green, and it's all natural.
It's like that bright, like
Yeah, it's like
Right.
Devin's
Wait,
name.
so Ali told me what was the thing that happened yesterday?
oh, so your tacos came up. Some rando on my Facebook feed, it just came up, and it was a picture you posted, and it was tortillas, and instantly I recognized him. I'm like, yo, those are Braxton's tacos, and it was some guy, some fat
Some
guy,
retard.
some meat. Well, yeah, I didn't know who it was, and he was all didn't even find this from white people making Mexican food and tagged that Facebook group. He's all like, and then like seen out in the wild or whatever. So I'm like, like what the hell? Did a little lurking, like, oh yeah, meat tar guy, whatever. So I just comment him all, looks bomb. And like with no other context, he responded, what do you say? Oh, is this what you people eat? Question mark, question mark. And then I responded, fuck yeah. I'm like waiting for him to engage because it's so funny. It's like, dude, this is like authentic, like purple corn tortilla. Like it's not even like it didn't look like like
You can't get that at a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, it's not like white people food where it's like, oh, white guy just came out of the blue and tried to make some Mexican tortillas. It's like,
yeah,
no,
or it's like the hard taco, like pre-made ones with like
Yeah.
shitty cheese on it, and like it's like all this,
Yeah,
like
those
you had all the details. It was like, no, that sounds
The Doritos kind,
Yes.
like a Doritos taco shell.
Yeah. He's got a Doritos Loco taco. But yeah, dude, that's a crazy part too, is that like at that Mexican shop that I went to, I just thought it was insane that a white guy was like practically educating this lady on like what's kind of her culture about what's traditional and everything. I was mind blown by that because I'm like, it's like a gringo going down to Mexico and being like, you guys got all this wrong. Like, let me tell you.
Let me school you.
Yeah.
I know the names of way more Korean vegetables, mountain herbs, types of mushrooms and stuff than most of my Korean friends. You know,
Yeah.
I guess I'm white splaining traditional Korean vegetable side dishes to
That must drive them crazy.
friends who eat like pork barbecue and fried chicken and stuff all the time.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was gonna say too.
I guess I better stop doing that.
Yeah, stop explaining their own culture. I was gonna say that's like
unless I'm talking to like temple monks or something, then they know way more than I do.
Oh yeah. Man, that was like a fun Red Bar in the Wild kind of moment where like my tacos got brought up out of the blue.
Yeah, totally.
That's crazy.
Did you watch the last episode?
I tried to. It came on like when I like there was a lot going on for the
So you
day,
tried to
so-
watch it live?
Yeah,
Live's
I
like
tried to
a whole
watch
other experience with the chat. You could actually talk to them and they'll like, it's pretty funny. Like the chat's hilarious. Like,
Yeah, I've gotten in on that a few times. I like resurrected my Twitch account just to be able to get in there and like get some good like little one-liners in. That's
it's
fun.
a fun dude. Mike's a funny dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so we're gonna, Red Band.
Yeah.
Red Band's doing a show at in San Diego, and I hit up Mike and I was like, "You want to buy you guys tickets?" And he's all, "What days?" I gotta check. I'm gonna see if he hit me back, but that'd be pretty funny to go because he likes Red Band,
Yeah.
and he said in a show, he's all, if Red Band's ever around, I'll totally go see his show. He said it a couple episodes ago, so I was like, "Hey, Red Band's here," like, so it'd be pretty funny to go with Mike and Jules to see Red Band.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would be a fun night.
That'd be kind of funny to like literally be able to be like, Red Bar's watching.
No,
like he's right there.
yeah, it
That
would be
awesome.
really funny to be there for that.
Yeah, Red Bar is literally watching live.
Yeah. Did you guys see this shit?
What's that?
Our fucking whoop, where'd it go?
Oh
There
yeah,
we
I
go.
saw that. This is pretty legit.
Climbing into our mind.
Yeah,
Look
so
at the copper right here.
all in.
The first step down into one of the adits, and I slip and almost fall down like who knows how many hundreds of feet. And I have it on video.
We already got Devin's last moments. We don't need.
What are we doing? Climbing into our mine. Look at the copper right here. Cropper. Look at the vein. Cropper.
So
I was too excited. I
You
couldn't
were
even
so
talk.
good.
Look how sketchy this is. Chrysocolla. Oh my God, this is it right here. And it's soft, babe. This shit isn't hard. It's soft, babe. It's falling off the walls. We don't have to like dynamite or anything like that. Ready? Give me that shit.
So is that like that area underneath? Is that like propped up to like be able to get in and dig down deeper?
So that is where they had dug out ore from before. And the vein goes down sometimes miles. So you can basically like you have to when you take out the space, you have to put up wood or steel planking to keep the top wall from falling down in on you as you continue to go into the mountain. Sample.
Okay.
So this is a sample of the mine dump that's there, and that's my rock crusher. So I like crush up these rocks. They're like crazy quartz.
I saw you were getting like some little flecks of gold too.
Yeah, you could see the gold right there in that little corner. That piece is nuts. I haven't broken that one up because I don't want to keep it. And then we went to the first bed, Malibu State Creek, to go in and out. Mines, pay dirt that we've ground up and collected from the mine. Let's see if there's gold in it. Double explaining.
Meta commentary.
Yeah. Meta commentary. That was fucking mind blown right now. That was based as what's his name would say. Where's Jerem?
Oh, Jerem, yeah.
I bet he.
Oh, Jeremy's saying something. He's muted. Jeremy, you're muted.
Oh no.
I need like little pieces of paper.
What, Jeremy?
It's our revenge. It's part 2. Carnism debunks. George did a talk with David Arenas.
Is that on YouTube?
Ridiculous, being a typically absurd deontologist who doesn't like any hypothetical thought experiments, doesn't really like to think about anything, can't respond intelligently to counterexamples to his positions, and is just generally a jerk to anybody, calling anybody who disagrees with his specific views a non-vegan, a collaborationist, and a bunch of other insults, you know. This dude, he called me a non-vegan, whatever, sellout.
Which episode was this?
What's the number of Carnism Debunked? I don't know. It's the most. I think it's the single most recent one. If not, it's two ago. With Arenas, and kind of a flame war in the comments. Jerome hasn't been there yet, but I've got a couple of other people on my side.
Where is it?
What's it called? It's David Arenas. David
Benatar? James Aspie?
No, that was a while ago.
Okay, let me look in just in the normal videos.
I think I caught a little bit
It's
of this.
called, the title says something about wild animal suffering. Like why David doesn't like the wild animal argument or some shit like that.
David. Got it.
But he's got Humane Hancock coming up, and we consequentialists will have our response to David's nonsense. But one of the key parts of this talk that everybody started arguing about is
give us the cliff notes since we don't have an hour and a half to watch it.
okay, yeah. So of course, David is a has a strong deontologist. He invoked the definition of veganism as being about human exploitation of animals, and that's it. That's what the definition says. So that's all I should care about. He also said that basically we'd never be able to anticipate the consequences of doing anything about wild animal suffering. So we might as well assume that we'd always cause more harm than benefit. So he's given this argument for not caring about wild animal suffering at all. And then he did some trashing of consequentialists. Fairly predictable, but the thing that we got into the most of the argument about in the comments is when George started asking him hypothetical thought experiments. Would it be okay if we somehow could know, with a fair amount of certainty that we could use artificial zebra meat to feed alligators and greatly reduce the amount of suffering experienced by zebras or something if we were ever able to do that, shouldn't we do it? And David started basically saying that it's pointless to consider hypothetical thought experiments. Anything that's not exactly or very close to the real world isn't even worth thinking about. And so the comment section got into arguments about people like me who think that's totally ridiculous, and ethical reasoning does involve thought experiments as a very important tool to understand what your moral principles are. And other people, including our good buddy Lewis, on the side of David against using unrealistic thought experiments. Man, it was frustrating listening to this dude, But the history of me with David is that he and I, in our very first interaction ever, in one of Carson's videos, in the comments of one of Reasonable Vegan's videos, he already basically called me a non-vegan, sellout asshole, and I called him an asshole. So we had bad blood right from our very first interaction, and I haven't seen anything from him that would really change my perspective. But Lewis likes him, and AJ turning Veganese, AJ's like a little asshole in training. He's trying to learn how to be just like his big brother David.
Devin, remember when we watched that video that was a vegan debate, vegan, vegetarian, carnist debate?
Wait, me?
Not Devin, Braxton. I was looking at the word Devin that's right above his face, right in front of his face. So I was like,
yeah, that one debate that we watched.
Yeah, we're just like, fuck this guy. This guy's talking about doing cocaine and shit.
He had a couple of tortilla chips, and all of a sudden, lines of coke and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Fell apart.
And I was accusing the guys that run the show of just specifically picking the worst vegan ever, because it was I had evidence, holy crap. I was like, you guys know me, you could have had me on, and they're like, obviously you don't want someone like me up there because it would have been a mess.
Yeah, it would have been a shouting match of people just yelling at you the whole time.
I got that lady to fucking yell at me live on the air. That was hilarious.
With just a comment.
Looks like she's steroids.
It's just the lighting. She got so mad about that.
And then all the hosts fucking white knighted for her then too. They're like, really? Oh, that's so lame. You're a dick. You're an asshole for doing that, for saying that. And I'm like, please. I'm going to say worse in about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Well, I think that dude even like said at one point he wasn't even really like vegan at the moment because of his life circumstances or something like that.
Yeah, no, it was awful. It was like I lost brain cells like watching that shit. It was bad. It's not good.
Most of these arguments about veganism end up being that way too. If it's people debating, it's like I don't know. I haven't seen a good, like, yours is an exception, like the debates you do, but like, aside from that, I've only seen people just get into basically just yelling matches. There's no, like, you have the floor to speak for a little bit before anybody
Yeah.
actually counters.
That's why you have to have them be moderated. And you need a moderator that at least kind of knows what they're doing. That's also that debate. I was calling those dudes out the whole time. I'm like, why is the moderator like what are these dudes moderating? Because they aren't doing anything. They're letting all this nonsense. They didn't have a premise to start with. Like, so you're just gonna let 3 people loose yelling at each other with no topic, like no main topic to argue. Like, I was like, what's the premise of this debate? What's the premise of this debate? What's the premise? And they're just like, well, moderators, you need to have a premise so there's at least like one argument that everyone can work towards, figuring something out. Like, come on, guys. And they're just like, no one knows what a debate is, unfortunately. You had to like go to like a cool high school or something, or like a junior college that has it or something, but like no one went to school, I guess.
Huh. See, I kind of is Jeremy trying
like
to
Jeremy knows how to debate, I'm sure. Like Jeremy knows his way around a debate.
I say, the thing about the thing about vegan versus anti-vegan debates, the big central problem that often comes up that professional philosophers tend to know how to deal with, but other people don't, is that when an empirical disagreement comes up and somebody's just saying like this much percentage of soy goes to animal feed and somebody says no it's not, it's this percent, that's going to completely derail a conversation that's about principles, that's about philosophy, about ethics and logical connections, and so what you should do when that kind of a disagreement about an empirical premise comes up is just say, well, okay, let's put that aside, or let's say, well, you can see that like if what you believe to be true turns out to be wrong and it turns out to be this other way, then would that change your mind, or would it shift your view a little bit? You have to be able to move beyond just shouting back and forth about a disagreement over facts, because you can't go and research all the facts in the middle of a debate like that.
Well, you don't only have one debate. That's one thing that like I've noticed with all these debate channels. They have one debate and that's it. And it's like, that's not a debate. Debates are ongoing. You're supposed to, in the second debate, go over what you talked about in the first debate and figure out who was right, and then go on from there. And like all that channel that I don't remember what they were called. None of these channels like have the same people. I mean, sometimes they have the same people back, but they're never on the same subject, so they're not ever getting anywhere. It's just shouting matches and stuff like that.
Like
but smart people who are skilled at intellectual argument know how to make points contingently, know how to like kind of how to hold in their mind. I guess I'll say our mind, because I think I can do this. Arguments that are based upon, if the facts turned out this way, then it would change my mind in this direction. I don't know if they turned out to be this way, would change my mind in this direction. Views that you can talk about, views that are contingent on what kind of like moral beliefs you'd have if something were a certain way, as opposed to like the only thing I know how to talk about is everything that I believe based upon how I think the world is, and I can't entertain any kind of hypotheticals beyond that, then you can't have a conversation with anybody unless they already share every single one of your premises. And that's not very fun, because it's pretty hard to find somebody who agrees with every one of your premises, no matter who they are. Like, I bet, none of you guys would agree with every one of my premises about anything we talked about. And if you find somebody who does, then you're basically just a hive mind, and there's no interest in the conversation. Basically has no purpose.
Yeah.
Just echoing
Infield
everything.
baseball.
Like, yeah.
Just an echo chamber. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like kind of what, that's the whole thing that, that's the whole Larken thing. Like, that's the whole, it's like this cult of personality thing where these people just become completely like overly involved with this idea and a person's content on YouTube. They think, that these people are gods and shit, and we're all just normal people.
It's kind of crazy because if the person is interesting at all, if the person who's got some amount of local fame is at all interesting, like like Ari, or like Lifting Vegan Logic,
Yeah.
or like George Martin, they're not going to actually respect the people that fawn over them and try to agree with every single thing they say.
No.
There are all these little hangers on, these little fanboys and fangirls. That's not how you actually get the respect of someone anyway. You get the respect for sticking up for your own views, but also being able to modify your own views and being an independent thinker, and giving them pushback when it's warranted. That's how you get respect.
Like, can you change your mind or hold two ideas in your head at the same time and see what comes about from that? See if that ever changes your perspective. I don't know. If it's like a host versus like audience sort of deal, it kind of makes me think that there's going to be people whose views differ, and there's an opportunity to kind of evolve. Like, the host of the show can change their mind, or you can disagree on certain things, but whoever has the most compelling argument, that'll show if they're actually able to grow either side of that. So that tells you if you have like a good movement going on. So
that's how we establish that we're most definitely not a cult.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I find I've followed a lot of different things, like going down different rabbit holes, finding different movements, and there's never 100% something that I agree with every little thing that everybody's talking about. There's always little nitpicks I'm going to find, and most of the time it's not problematic, but when it is, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to kind of take a step back, see how this pans out. But the sovereign movement, that whole thing, that is pretty cultish. I'll say that much.
Devin, you there?
I'm here, bro.
There you go.
All
What up?
right.
Dude, did my mic cut out halfway through all that?
No, it was never on.
It was off most of the time.
Never on. Oh my god.
It's okay. We saw what was going on. We could tell.
Yeah, we were just doing the chanting.
Yeah. What was the chant?
Fur trade, death trade, 50 skinned alive animals, 1 fur coat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What
How
else?
do you sleep at night?
You had more than that.
Yeah. Hey, Mark Jacobs, how do you sleep at night? How many animals died today? That kind of stuff. But dude, security was fucking quick. Like, they said, the people I went with, they were like, yeah, we've been in there for like 5 minutes before security even showed up.
Those
But we were in
fools have
there
nothing
for
else better to do.
Yeah.
They're looking for something to do. That's like Paul Blart status.
I mean, that was my first disruption, honestly. Like, they've been doing this shit for a while. Like, my girlfriend's been doing this forever, but yeah, like we have one person with us that's like kind of the security police liaison. So, he's just buying us time. He's distracting them. He's just chatting with them like, hey, don't fuck with them. But yeah, they were very quick to threaten like trespass and arrest, and it's like they don't even have the authority to do any of that.
I was gonna say, was it because it's a mall that they were able to kick you guys out so quick, like off the mall property altogether?
Well, yeah, and it isn't a far walk to get off the property because it's in the fashion show mall, and it's like maybe 100 yards, and then you're outside of the doors and you're off the property, so they can't really do anything after that. But the thing they were saying too is like in briefing is even if you're just shuffling your feet very slightly towards door and dragging it out, like you are leaving, you're not staying, so they can't trespass you if your body is actively moving towards the exit, even if it's really slow.
And they can't touch you either, right?
Oh yeah, they pretty much know they can't put hands on.
So it's just doing a little shuffle.
At least those type of
slow
security,
walk
like
out.
they're a little more like high level professionals. They know like their limit.
Yeah.
But they can say whatever they want, just to, throw their weight around.
Yeah.
Dude, you gotta learn how to like moonwalk and get some really slick shoes, so that way you can kind of like just move in place. Like I'm moving
in place. I'm moving, bro.
An inch every like couple minutes.
How many How many of you guys were there?
There's about 6 of us.
Dope.
Yeah. Not a huge group, but it's not a big store. It's kind of tiny.
Yeah,
it's like the
little
size
mall
of it's like a little mall cutout kiosk.
Yeah, it looked like a small corner store kind of deal.
Yeah. I honestly, when I walked in, I didn't even know what to do to not look conspicuous. I was just like, oh, I guess I'll go over here and look at the sneakers. So, we kind of made our way in and we just kind of blend in. And then I was waiting for our chant leader to start off. And then we pulled out our signs and to start chanting along.
That's dope.
Yeah, I guess there's a couple other Marc Jacobs stores here in town. So we might organize to hit up the other ones too. There's like 3 or 4 of them. One of them is kind of like the one I went to. Huh?
Are they not in malls?
No, they're pretty much inside of a mall.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they have like a standalone
because you could
store.
just do signs, and you could do signs on the road all day.
Yeah.
When you have like a building that's by the road in like a city.
So this one was inside the fashion show mall, which is right at the Wynn Casino.
Yeah. Crazy.
There's one. I guess they said there's one up north at a different mall, but it's like right on the street. So we could go inside, and as soon as we step out onto the sidewalk, we're not on their property. We're on public property, and then we could just stand outside all day and chant and stuff.
Yeah. That's dope. Fun.
Fun.
Good job.
Old school. Yep.
Good job. Yeah. I was just telling him a story about when I did this when I was like a teenager.
Yeah. I feel like the pressure campaign method
I think we
does
spray
have
painted,
like
red spray painted onto the minks. There were minks.
Oh
mink
shit,
coats.
that's a whole nother level.
Yeah, security like tackled us and like we were like playing football with the camera because they were trying to get the camera because they didn't want us to have like the footage of us doing it. And these were different times in the 90s.
Yeah.
You got like the
security
handhelds.
was a little bit more rough back in the day. Mall security.
Well, they're saying that pressure campaigns have a pretty good success like track record of actually implementing change like through the chain of command. It's just like the more like agitation that happens and disruption to their like workflow, it kind of gets up to the higher levels, and then they start considering what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Have you guys been keeping up on what Joey Carbstrong's been doing lately?
Oh, the
No.
Pignorant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
said
need
that,
to watch it. It's on Amazon, right?
Oh yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, it is on Amazon. I was curious to check that out, but also not in the. I don't know if I'm in the mood to see Slaughter right now, or gas chamber stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of grim.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Doom and gloom's
tailored for the layman, and then maybe we should have a blurred out version for vegan.
Maybe we'll watch this David hates the wild animal suffering conversation next week.
Oh yeah, I was watching a little bit of that.
Is it worth watching?
I don't know. I'm not digging that guy too much that he's speaking with.
Jeremy, you're muted, by the way.
Oh shit.
If you don't
Yeah.
like him, that just means you're not vegan. Just means you're a
Yeah, I'm not
collaborationist.
vegan, bro.
It's not vegan
Yeah.
to not like any vegan. I liked our little reaction
know
video
if-
we did to the Ed Winters video. That was cool.
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
You're not. That was fun.
Yeah,
We're
we
gonna
should do more of
that,
those. Yeah.
for sure. Like, just pull the cringiest vegan shit out and just be like, guys, stop doing this.
Yeah.
Stop doing this shit. You're not helping us. Really, we should really start doing that. Like, everyone, especially if you guys are watching all this stuff all the time, anything hella cringy, we got to pull it out because it's not good for veganism. It's not good for the animals for these guys to be being cringy.
Yeah.
Stuff that's not a good look.
Not a good look.
Well, none of us are as bad as the blue hair college student just shrieking at a high pitch, not even listening to somebody or interacting with them, but just going, 70 million animals killed every month. Non-stop, like fast, high pitch voice.
Then if your argument
As
gets
a
shut down, you just
protest.
screech. Yeah.
I don't know how anybody could possibly think that was productive rather than counterproductive.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Justin Padini?
Like when some dumb anti-vegan comes out and like eats a hot dog right in front of the vegan, and the vegan's response is just to like hysterically shriek at them.
Oh, I
yeah.
saw a good
That's
response to that when anyone says, "Oh, because of this, I'm gonna go eat extra meat." Be like, "Oh, because you're gonna eat extra meat, I'm gonna eat extra blocks of soy,
Yeah.
tofu, no, extra blocks of tofu." That's it.
Yeah.
And just go right back at it, and they'll just be like, "Ah!" Biggest snowflakes ever, meatards.
Have you guys seen the one where the guy freaks out at the? You know how there's that group that does the dog meat, like they're serving like dog meat
Yeah.
sandwiches or some shit. Have you seen the
You
guy
mean
that's
Elwood's?
freaking out? Yeah, Elwood. I don't know if it was Elwood's or it was like kind of a knockoff one, but it was at like a college
Was
campus,
it in
and this guy
Netherlands?
comes up and starts freaking out. And he's like tearing
It was
down their
that-
display.
It was that girl. We were on her live stream, and we were in the chat.
Christina Van Dijk. Yeah,
Yeah.
she and her group in the Netherlands have been doing fake dog meat stuff modeled after Elwood's recently, and they've had
so
some really
clever.
heated conversations in the Netherlands there.
I bet.
Good way
So
to open.
clever.
Did we watch some of them?
Did you guys see Molly Elwood with Temple Grandin?
Mm-mm.
That was so beautiful. That's the most beautiful fucking vegan moment of the last several years. Did you see it?
Explain it to us.
So
What
actually,
happened?
the actual Molly Elwood of Elwood's dog meat went to a Temple Grandin talk in a theater, and afterwards went up to Grandin and said, "Oh, I'm such an admirer of you. We've implemented so many of your humane methods to our dog meat facility." And Grandin was confused, and she was going like, "Oh, you mean you make meat to feed to dogs?" And Molly Elwood had to explain a couple of times, no, we make meat to be eaten by humans out of dogs, and when Grandin finally got the message, she like grabbed the Elwood's brochure and started ripping it up.
The dread just slowly kind of poured over her.
It's so beautiful.
That is awesome.
And Molly Elwood played it. She played it straight the entire way, from what I could see.
It's got to be a very rewarding, gratifying kind of moment.
Yeah, you finding it easy?
I don't know.
It's hard to read the search on my phone here. It seems like if you put Molly Elwood Temple Grandin, it'd come up first, but
I got Molly Elwood, but I don't see any of her street videos.
did you put Temple Grandin in the search?
Temple?
It's probably as a short. She probably doesn't have a full length video of it. I think it was just like a minute or two long, the interaction.
Hey, we're going to watch Conspiracy on Wednesday.
This is going to be totally different.
Oh, awesome.
You're watching
here we go.
Yeah, they got very limited screening.
So I'm a big fan.
Nice.
And I wanted
Jealous.
to know, I run a small dog meat farm, and I was wondering if there was any tips you might have. I have Labradors that won't go in.
What, a dog meat?
Yes, it's meat from dogs for people.
Meat from
So you're
dogs,
making
not
food
for
for
dogs.
dogs.
No, it's for people. It's a small farm,
Okay.
farm dogs. And I've used a lot of your methods for the slaughterhouse, and I just, some problems with.
You're trying to get the pigs to go in?
No, I'm trying to get the Labradors to go into the chute. I think that maybe there's
Oh, man.
on the floor.
You're not eating dogs, though.
Yes,
No,
yes.
I'm not.
Wow, this is really
What?
good.
You're eating dogs?
We do it humanely. It's all it's ethical.
Rip it up.
But
I can't.
but you do a lot of things that are
Not where I
very.
am, no, wait, no. I'm sorry. No, I just can't have it to do with it. It's too high.
The old lady rage kicks in.
But if we follow the humane.
No,
methods.
the problem is culturally it's too hot an issue and it's a tail of politics. I will not touch it.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I mean, I figured, I know it's really
Okay,
nice to
yeah,
meet
all
you.
right,
Thank you.
okay.
I mean, sure, she tore up the brochure and she was very kind of upset about it. But at the same time, like, she knows we exist. And she kept the brochure. She might take it together and read it. And maybe she'll come and visit the farm and help me with my problem with the lads. Oh, God.
Wow. That was pretty good.
Some people on Facebook were calling Molly Elwood ableist because Temple Grandin is autistic, and so she would be less capable of detecting the sarcasm or whatever.
That's funny as shit.
Like
They gotta find their
Ultimate.
route.
ultimate LARPing experience. Devin, you need to get us a cam of like record in the theater Christspiracy when you go to watch it. Send us a
So we can watch it with you. Oh my god. That's hilarious.
Live stream in the theater.
yeah, just bootleg it.
Bootleg it. I mean, I'm sure the guy's not trying to make a fucking dime off of it. It's the message, you know.
Yeah.
He couldn't. The whole point was he couldn't get it on Netflix or anything. They wouldn't support it.
Yeah, they were gonna try to. It was something like they wanted to censor like just a few parts, just kind of like have them cut out some of the things, and so they flat out like they bought back the rights to the movie, so they wouldn't have to like compromise their message at all. So that's awesome.
Good. Yeah.
I mean, I've been reading, like checking the comments to see if they're gonna send out an update about when like it'll be available online, and they just keep saying that because they don't have like an online platform like Netflix, they're having to kind of outsource and find an alternative way. So there's no set like release for the movie yet online. So that kind of sucks for us.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Sorry, but I gotta be bouncing here. Call my
All right,
friend.
dude. Yeah,
and
you look tired. Go get some sleep.
that.
He's
I'm
famished.
up for a while. I got to play some games and then travel home. But
Good to see you, brother.
see you next week after I'm
Okay.
hopefully mostly over the jet lag.
Yeah, let's do this again soon.
All right. Peace out.
Later, bro.
Late.
Still need those subtitles, closed captions.
Probably gonna bounce here in a minute too.
Surplus. You are called lifting vegan logic, and you're interested in bodybuilding, but to build muscle, you must eat at a calorie surplus. Are you not unnecessarily hurting animals by requiring a greater number of crop deaths?
Well, hello, my fellow herbivores. Today we're going to be responding to vegetarian Stephen Woodford, aka Rationality Rules, and his discussion with vegan YouTuber Lifting Vegan Logic.
Suppose that it turns out that it's 100,000 organisms are killed for the vegan and 120,000 for the vegetarian. It just seems like these are completely arbitrary positions, and it's like, just as we can justify going, I'm going to be able to consume an extra 20% calories because of bodybuilding. It doesn't seem to be any less arbitrary, to use that word again, than the vegetarian just going, yeah, I'm going to eat an extra 20% calories because that makes me happy. They're both not needed. They're both cosmetic. As far as I'm convinced, my view is actually no more arbitrary than a vegan's. Our mere living, our mere just being here, does ensure countless deaths. If you're a vegan, it's true. If it's a vegetarian, it's true. It's not equal. There's different amounts of deaths that are caused. If you're a fat vegan, it's different to being a thin vegan. If you're a bodybuilding vegan, it's different to being, so everyone, by living a normal life, a normal healthy life, they are going to ensure a lot of deaths caused to sentient creatures.
So the two clips shown so far come from different parts of the discussion, but to me they seem to summarize one of Stephen's main contentions, which can be distilled down into something like this. Stephen imagines a vegan bodybuilder who eats excess calories and a vegetarian who eats eggs and milk, such that they end up killing the same number of animals. The bodybuilder via more indirect crop deaths, and the vegetarian via direct deaths and crop deaths. He then uses this to say something approximating that such a vegan couldn't really criticize a vegetarian, or if vegans are criticizing vegetarians, they should also be criticizing those sorts of vegans, or that it all gets a little fuzzy or murky or difficult philosophically, and that's why he isn't vegan.
This is where that threshold deontology comes in, right? It's really quite hard, and this is the point of these philosophical considerations. They test our intuitions, and they test whether or not we do hold on to certain positions. It's actually thinking about things like this that stop me from being vegan, because I don't think that there's good answers to things like this, and because I can't specify an answer. Just speaking for me, I was like, I really wish this was true.
Now I'm inferring and extrapolating a bit here, since by the end of the interview, it was still a little unclear to me what his exact position was. But I think this is at least a reasonable interpretation. Now to start, I don't think this adds up. And it strikes me as a narrow and myopic view of not just veganism and animal rights, but also consequentialism more generally. I say consequentialism here because it seems like that's the framework Stephen's coming from, at least for this particular objection.
If we was to take the utility of the deaths caused.
But before we dissect it, let's just zoom out for a second. Presumably, Stephen is anti-needless human suffering, anti-chattel slavery, and anti-humans dying. That's to say, with respect to humans, he broadly takes some sort of humanistic worldview. But does he ever eat a caloric surplus? Does he have more muscle or fat tissue than he absolutely needs? Does he drive or fly places for leisure? Does he always turn off his lights when he leaves a room? Is he on his computer more than he needs to be? Does he ever throw out leftovers? Because all those things will result in some amount of human suffering and deaths. Farm accidents, car accidents, plane accidents all kill humans. As do accidents related to mining ore and minerals, the felling of trees, and the process of extracting fossil fuels. Not to mention all the increased resource use and emissions, which also kill people, both via air pollution, environmental degradation, and the various other types of effects that result from climate change. Not to mention, just by the numbers, there will be exploitation, abusive bosses, horrible working conditions, and a panoply of other indignities, large and small, that humans will be subjected to along these supply chains. So now imagine I come along and I'm breeding humans into existence, confining them, and non-consensually harvesting their milk, hair, fingernails, piss, sweat, bathwater, and then selling them. Would he claim it's hard to say I'm really doing anything beyond the pale, or to condemn my behavior since he also eats extra calories and flies to Majorca? What if I was just buying those products from slavers and the people who were breeding those humans? What if I only bought a little bit of milk and piss and bathwater, so that the harm I caused was equal to the harm he caused by his various excesses? What if he was like, hey, you shouldn't do that? And I was all like, well, you drive cars and eat extra calories. So it's really hard to say where to draw the line since we both harm humans. Would he sign off on that? Maybe he would, but I'm pretty sure he wouldn't. Or imagine this. We're in the 1800s, and Stephen and all his friends own 10 enslaved people. And then Stephen decides to reduce down to just owning one enslaved person. Then Lifting Vegan Logic comes along and says, hey, maybe we should stop violating these people's rights and stop seeing them as exploitable resources. And Steven says, bro, you eat excess calories and less more workers die in the process of farming. So much so that we both have the same human death count on our hands. So it's pretty hard to make the case that I should free this enslaved person. Would we accept that line of reasoning? Now, I'm aware neither of these analogies is 100% perfect, as no analogy is. But I hope they illustrate the serious limitations of monomaniacally focusing on just death count when there's very relevant social, economic, symbolic, and belief variables at play. Variables that'll have more durable and long-term effects on psychology, society, and culture. But what do I mean by that? Well, most people in the vegan and animal rights scene aren't just vegan to assuage their guilt or to feel morally superior, or just to cause a fleeting and myopic blip of utility because they purchased X over Y. They're vegan as part of a larger focus on abolition, that is materially abolishing animal use as a societal practice, and more abstractly about.
Are you muted? You're muted.
Someone made Debug watch my debate, and he like didn't really want to. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Which debate was that?
Was any good? That was, I think, the second Garland debate, because it was like a pretty definitive, and like everybody wanted to see someone like finally slam dunk that guy.
Yeah. See the resolution that was being built up to.
Yeah. Meow. Cat's meowing at me.
Steve.
Well, that was 2.5 hours. I got my batteries are getting low in our RV.
Okay.
What do you? Whoa. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So, yeah, next week I just want to. What were we just talking about? Wanting to do on the show?
That's a good question.
I forgot.
We've had a lot of things going on this episode.
I know. I need to be editing. That's one. Like the last 3 episodes, there's like such a bunch of clippable stuff in it, and I'm just like, I don't have my big computer, so it's like hard for me to do. But anyway, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay, I have one quick question though I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Like off the top of your head, how much of like the farmland, like either in the U.S. or in the world, goes towards like just corn? Kind of a tough.
Corn, like a percentage.
Yeah. I feel like it's
Our World and Data. Let me pull it up real quick.
I'm like, we have the information.
Yeah, no, Our World and Data is the study. Let me pull it up.
Okay, quick Google search pulled up 36%, which that's pretty significant. Let's see.
What was it exactly? The percentage of crops grown, or what was it?
Corn.
This says today. This is just a random Google Scientific American. It says today's corn crop is mainly used for biofuels. Roughly 40% of U.S. corn is used for ethanol, and as animal feed, roughly 36% of U.S. corn. Oh, but that's okay. That's for animal feed.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up.
But I think I do remember that it's a smaller percentage that's eaten by humans. Like it's the majority. For fuel and animal feed, but I can't remember.
I think that.
Where are there? Or it's in our debate notes, which I don't know if I have.
Yeah, it's somewhere in this study. This is the most looked at study or the most respected study with those numbers. Almond yields. Let's see, these are the oils. Soybean oil way down there. Sesame oil way up the top.
No corn oil.
Yeah, this is vegetable oil.
Okay. Well, so yeah, the point. Okay.
What's that?
Well, the point I wanted to make about that like
Wait,
I
thanks,
actually,
vegan totalitarian dictator for the $5. Definitely come back on the next show next weekend or next Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. You should come up and hang out. We just kind of shoot the shit and watch videos and stuff. But thanks again for the $5. I'm gonna put that towards clipping up the shows. So yeah, what was that, Braxton?
so because I got into a little mini debate in one of the Facebook comments last night with this one dude, and he was actually pretty reasonable. But a point that I was kind of thinking of on the fly, mixing in my sort of like corn studies I've been doing, like looking into all the pinole stuff. Well, so whatever percentage of corn goes towards cattle feed, if we were to gradually phase out, like, you know, our dependence on having cows and all the other agricultural animals, corn could be used much more efficiently if we weren't using this like bastardized version of it and went back to the traditional way of growing more so maize and like working on that as being a really effective sort of solution for, you know, deficiencies and just calories in general. Because whatever percentage of corn, that could be like a large amount of human food or even maybe animal food.
Yeah, I think the number, if I recall correctly, the number was pretty low that was actually human food. You do see a lot of it at the store, you know, so obviously it gets consumed.
Well, it's still quality.
But it's subsidized. That's why you see so much in the store, that the yellow corn that's subsidized, the GMO corn or whatever, which we can definitely do without, I'm sure. And who knows what the demand would be for corn if the subsidy wasn't there, because I mean, corn's pretty good, but like it's almost like a tradition food. It's just like because it's around or because it's subsidized. You know, that's like when we had the whole debate on whether or not if we got rid of animal ag, would demand for soy raise or lower from where it is now. Mr. Strawman Farms thought that it would skyrocket because everyone would have to be eating soy wafers all day long, which is a ridiculous idea. Where I think me and we were just like, you know, like there are many other places to get protein from. You don't have to just get it from soy. That's a big, because he had that chart he uses all the time, and it's like it's completely BS because we get protein from many places, least of all soy, at least over here. But yeah, the corn thing again, like if we got rid of animal ag, who the hell knows what would happen? But most likely, those crops that we're making that are ideal for cattle will be changed to crops that would be ideal for humans. You know, and soy, you know, while is great, it's probably not ideal. You know, there's many other things, you know, go to any supermarket, there's plenty of other vegetables and things like that you could get protein from. It's not a lot like meat, but it's you know, you can definitely get enough.
It ain't much, but it's
honest.
honest.
There is nothing wrong with soy, but eating it all day, every day is probably not good. It's easy to have, a lot of people can be a little allergic to soy. And not know it and kind of be like having like small issue over and over and over and over again that they don't really notice. But yeah, beans and rice. We eat so much rice.
Yeah, same.
And beans.
Yeah.
Do you have an Instapot?
I do, but I also kind of mastered the way of like cooking, because I eat off and on, I'll eat a lot of white rice. I'll just kind of go through phases, and I've like mastered being able to cook
20-pound bags of white rice like crazy.
Yeah, it's real easy to do too.
Sugar and white rice. White sugar and white rice.
Good fuel. Well, and I was
Yeah.
gonna say about the whole corn situation is that like, well, because those videos that I shared about like pellagra. So what was going on with that was that people were getting deficiencies, and it was because they were eating like grits and cornbread and like all the traditional Southern staple foods, or what we were taught was kind of traditional, and it ended up because corn as it is now and as it's been since like Americans started integrating into the country, well, but they were basically eating this. They were eating it as a staple, and it ended up making them deficient in a number of things. They were getting like vitamin B deficiencies, and
Because they
that's
weren't eating other foods. They were eating too much corn, basically.
yeah, and they were eating
And the
like
corn
low
didn't have enough, and they'd be eating other stuff that they'd probably getting their nutrients from.
yeah, they were eating like
that.
bacon, like fatback bacon, I guess, and like grits or cornbread, and then like low quality what do you call it? Like green beans and carrots, kind of like that kind of
Yeah.
nutritionally not very adequate kind of
soul food.
Yeah. Yeah, and people are getting this really like nasty skin condition where pellagra was like characterized by this like rash you get around your neck, and like it's like extreme psoriasis where your skin is like literally like peeling off. It's so bad. It's like terrible sunburn. And that's where we got this whole idea of using enriched flour, like when they put niacin and folate and all these different low quality vitamins, like if you get like saltine crackers and all that. That's what they attributed that the cure to pellagra to being, and that's why we still have that. But when you look to South America, they never had that issue because they were cooking corn properly or maize. And they also rely on that. I think I saw a figure that said that some of them actually rely on it for like 70% of their calorie intake, like overall.
Damn.
Yeah, so if it's that efficient of a food, it's like, maybe we should scrap all the bad corn that we have, the stuff that was making everybody sick and probably still is, and bring this more nutritionally adequate version in.
Yeah, and we're supposed to eat like colorful stuff. We're supposed to eat like lots of variety of colorful things, and that corn's pretty freaking colorful. Like, that's wild. Like in beets, like the most colorful food tend to be the most nutritious. And we're supposed to be eating vegetables and fruit. Beets are amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I overdosed on beets though. Have you ever overdosed on beets?
I don't think I have yet.
Yeah, I ate so many beets that it made me cramp, and I thought I was gonna die. I understand what it's like to be a woman and to have menstrual cramps because of eating too much beets.
Yeah.
I just woke up and I thought I was gonna die, and I didn't know why. Oh, that rhymed. It was a very strange experience.
I can imagine.
But it hurt really bad. Cramps are gnarly, like beets. So I gotta like take it easy when I eat beets.
See, I used to actually hate beets too. I used to be so picky compared to where I'm at now, because when I was a kid, if I tried to eat like broccoli or something, it would literally make me gag. And now I'm like the opposite. Yeah, I used to hate broccoli. It grossed me out.
I started eating onions recently, started eating mushrooms recently, started liking tomatoes recently. Those were the three things I kind of dodged most of my life. Just like going vegan again, it's just like, okay, well, I need to be eating as much vegetable. I can't be like not eating this stuff. And then you just kind of, it's a total mental block. Like it makes no sense. Like, it's like those are my three favorite things now. It's like kind of dumb because there's no reason to not like them. It's just, someone gave me the wrong one when I was a kid. Like someone gave me like raw red onions when I was a kid, and I was like, wow, that's nasty. And so I never, and onions are bomb. Holy shit.
Yeah.
We cook with onions all the time. She cooks with onions.
Yeah, I'll put them in salads raw sometime, and it just gives that extra kick.
I definitely like them now.
Yeah, that's an intense flavor though, so I can see the dislike. There's a few of those.
Well, yeah, it's good because it has to be mixed with a bunch of shit, like in a salad or on like a veggie burger or something. It's like bomb, but on its own, it's kind of rough. And I think someone tried to give me it on its own or something when I was a kid. Like my mom something, and I was like, "Are you insane? That's like burning my face." And when
Yeah.
you're a kid, you're so sensitive, you know.
Yeah, you haven't been doled out by anything, so that stuff
Mushrooms
gets a
are
lot
kind
harder.
of weird, but they're so good for you.
Yeah. Well, and mushrooms are a weird one too, because you're not really supposed to, like, I guess some types of mushrooms you're not really supposed to eat them raw. But
Yeah.
when I was in like freshman year of high school, I had this really awesome health teacher who actually, like, years before probably at least like 4 or 5 years before I went vegan, or no, like a few years. But anyway, it was my first period class, and it was a health class, and she was talking about, just kind of out of nowhere when we were talking about nutrition, she was bringing up this whole thing about like people who have diabetes, if they went on like a raw, only plant foods sort of diet for like 30 days, they were more likely to reverse diabetes. And like that's always stuck with me, because now I look back on that, I'm like, okay, I could have gone vegan right then and there, because I've had a couple family members who were diabetic, so I was curious. But I also hated vegetables at the time, so I didn't make that
Have you
connection.
seen the rice diet?
Yeah, I've seen some things on that.
Rice diet's dope. That's like, they were like reversing diabetes in like all cases with the rice diet. It's just like rice and sugar, right? It's basically how we eat,
like fruit
how
juice,
we
I
eat
think.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
sugar, fruit, vegetables, juice.
I could do that. I think they do
Rice.
restrict salt, though. That would be a little tough for me.
What's that?
I said I think they do reduce. They restrict salt, so I think that would be a little tough for me, because I'm all
Yeah,
about
that's pretty
like soy
tough.
sauce.
Do they reduce salts? No. Yeah.
So I think it was something about like high blood pressure. They were trying to help people reverse that too.
Yeah, but that's like, it's not a salt. That's a salt deficiency thing. Usually, I've heard. Like, yeah, that's one of those weird things
Yeah.
where it's like you're like, I don't know if I should be listening to this doctor about this.
Yeah, true. Well, and that I can't remember the name of one of the prolific doctors who was doing their version of the rice diet. He was literally like chaining people like in the room, whatever, like making them only eat rice, because people were they were getting so bored of the flavor that they were like trying to like do anything they could to get away from it. And that was like part of the study. They signed up to basically be like a guinea pig. So it's like, you're not getting out of this.
And they chained them.
Yeah,
That's how I feel like sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't think I liked rice that much until now.
Yeah.
Because rice was just kind of like, just like it's this soulless thing. But like you just have to put sauces on it. And that's like whenever anybody's like, oh, vegan recipes, I'm like, I don't have recipes. You just go and buy like 10 different sauces and a rice cooker and just, vegetables. And that's like, I can eat that every day, all day. Broccoli, man. Oh my God. We eat so much. We keep the broccoli farms in business. We eat so much broccoli.
I need to be doing more of that. I love broccoli, but I also like skimp on it when I go to the grocery store. It's just one of those things where like when I'm in the produce aisle, I can't be bothered to get my hands wet real quick and grab a bag and like.
Oh, you pussy! You gotta shake it off, because you shake the water.
Yeah.
If you don't shake it off, it's like $1 more.
Oh,
yeah. It's $1 more expensive if you don't shake the water off of it.
Yeah, they're getting you with that little bit.
That's why they spray all the produce, because it's all by the pound. And they're literally like making money by spraying. It's a total freaking scam.
Yeah.
So you got to shake the broccoli really hard.
Dude, I also think
you got to eat the broccoli stalks too.
Yeah, and
stalks are the best part.
Okay, I was gonna say kind of counter that, because I was gonna say like cauliflower or any of those like kind of weighty vegetables where a lot of the weight's in like the stalks. I almost feel like if you're just going for like the florets or something, you should be able to chop off that base to knock off a little bit on the weight.
Oh no, the broccoli stalks are the best.
That is a good.
Oh, they're so good. And you could make the broccoli stalks into like artificial meats, like, because it's kind of got a weird consistency.
Yeah, true.
But it's so good with coconut aminos. Oh, I can't even. Or even peanut sauce. Like, we put all kinds of crazy shit on our broccoli, and it's fucking bomb.
Yeah, peanut sauce. That's one of my favorite things. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, mixing like fat with like rice, it's kind of one of those things where you can't mix the two because you're gonna cause issues with the carbs digesting properly or something like that. But like white rice with peanut sauce is like my go-to.
Oh God, it's so good. And there's that peanut sauce, the spicy one with the little red specks in it. That's like rare to come across. You know what I'm talking about? It's like the really dank peanut sauce, but you can't find it that often. There's the regular kind. It's not as spicy. It doesn't have little red specks in it. It's like good, but the spicy one is like off the fucking hook. It's so good. I think they have it at shop at grocery outlet sometimes.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah, we
see
got
it
one
there.
of those around here.
Grocery outlet can be dope.
Yeah, they get some good deals sometimes.
They have some vegan stuff.
Yeah. I was gonna say too, my mom actually makes a really good like Thai style peanut sauce, and that's the stuff where like you're putting in like the chili flakes and like lime and cilantro pairs really well with it too.
Hell yeah, we eat a lot of cilantro.
Yeah, I can't stand people who say that it tastes like soap and they don't eat it. That is not acceptable to me. I mean,
no, it's so good.
Know. Yeah, cilantro is something I could literally eat a bushel like in a one meal if I wanted to.
One of the places we stay is right by all these farm fields, and it was cilantro last time we were there, and they were cutting it, and the whole block just reeked of cilantro. We're like, oh my God,
that's paradise. That's one of the best, like the aromatics and the flavor. That's
it really is, and it's like just reminds me like the best burritos always have tons of cilantro on them.
Seriously.
Yeah, all right, dude. I think we're gonna get out of here.
Okay, I'm in one of those moods where I could talk forever. So
I know. I started strong today, even though we went on a bike ride and I was pretty tired, but I was like spitting fire in the beginning.
Yeah.
I was all amped.
Got that energy.
But yeah, I'll see you next week.
All right. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.
Later.
Later. Bye.